The afterglow of the setting sun shines on the green fields of Fantasy Continent, and the hares in the grass are jumping around, making a brisk, squeaking sound. Ruoxi held her new sword and approached a fat rabbit gently. Her character is a delicate female swordsman, with long hair blowing slightly in the wind. The gray cloth armor on her body makes her look like a newbie. The air in the game always smelled of earth and flowers, making people unable to help but take a deep breath, even though she knew that this was just a virtual illusion. "Ha, I finally found you," Ruoxi whispered to herself, raised the tip of her sword, and the rabbit fell to the ground, exploding a small pile of copper coins and rabbit skin. She wiped the virtual sweat from her forehead, and the system prompt sounded, "Gain 50 experience points, rabbit skin X1. On an ordinary day, it was another silent leveling. As a little transparent player, she has been on this continent for half a year. Her level has barely reached level 25, but she can't even join a decent guild. Those big guys always team up to clear dungeons and grab resources, but what about her? You can only kill mobs in the fringe areas and make do with upgrades." Just as she bent down to pick up the loot, a deep laughter came from the woods nearby. "Hey, isn't this girl Ruoxi? Are you farming rabbits here again? Ha, at your level, you can't even touch the gate of the forbidden area, right?" Li Wei's voice was like the taunting sound effects in the game, harsh and arrogant. He is the leader of the Iron-Blooded Guild, a level 40 berserker, with blue light equipment flashing on his body. At first glance, he is one of the top 100 ruthless characters in the server. There were two younger brothers beside him, laughing and chirping in agreement. Ruoxi's heart sank, but she pretended to be calm. She straightened up and gripped the sword hilt tighter. "Li Weiwei, what's the matter? I'm leveling up, don't you also like to come here to kill monsters?" Her voice was steady, but with a hint of helplessness. "The interactions in the game should be interesting, but every time I meet Li Wei, it's like stepping on dog poop, it's sticky and can't be shaken off." Li Wei stepped forward, holding the axe on his shoulder, blocking her way. "Leveling? Are you such a transparent person that you have to practice until the age of the monkey? Last time the guild recruited people, did you sign up? Oh, by the way, our Iron Blood does not accept waste. I heard that there will be a big crisis in the next update. People like you will probably be trampled to pieces by monsters." His younger brothers burst into laughter, and one of them even pushed her deliberately, causing the character to shake slightly. Ruoxi gritted her teeth and did not reply. She knew it was useless to argue. Li Wei's guild monopolized most of the resources, and novices like her would always be marginalized. There was a sourness in my heart. Why am I always like this? Even though I was playing games every day, I couldn't even get a teammate. Am I destined to be a joke? She turned around to leave, but she heard a strange ringtone suddenly ringing from the system, not a common prompt, but as long as an ancient bell. Ding! Trigger the hidden event, the whisper of the prophet. You have entered a special state. Ruoxi was stunned, and the surrounding scenery suddenly blurred, as if it was distorted by water waves. A translucent screen appeared in front of me, like an updated preview of the game, but clearer and more realistic. In the picture, the ground of Fantasy Continent trembles, monsters emerge from the depths of the Forbidden Land, and riots sweep through the server like a tide. The map is reset, hidden treasure chests and rare boss appear, the drop points of blue equipment and even purple equipment are clearly marked. Time, 3 days later, midnight. Crisis level, S level, mortality rate as high as 80%. Ruoxi's heart beats faster, this is not an illusion. She tried to blink, but the screen did not disappear. Instead, more details scrolled out, the entrance to the forbidden area will be destroyed due to riots. If players sneak in early, they can avoid the crowd and exclusive boss drops. Scenes of fantasies appeared in her mind involuntarily. She was holding a shining sword, the sword was as bright as lightning, killing guardian beasts, and rare equipment clanked to the ground. The surrounding players were stunned, and Li Wei's mocking face twisted into horror. I can do it. The inner monologue shot up like a flame, burning from the ashes of inferiority. She imagined the power pouring into her body, her level leaping, and the guild bosses kneeling down to beg for mercy. Confidence comes like a tide, and you are no longer the timid little transparent person, but the queen who is about to rise. The scene gradually faded, and Ruoxi came back to her senses and found that she was still standing where she was. Li Wei and the others had already walked away, leaving lingering sounds of ridicule. But she was different. Goldfinger. This is the opportunity God gave her. She took a deep breath of the fresh air in the game, feeling much refreshed in her heart. We can't wait any longer, we have to act. Ruoxi, are you there? Get online quickly, I have great information. Weiwei's message suddenly popped up on the friend channel. Ruoxi clicked the voice button, and Weiwei's voice was so excited that she said, "Sister, have you heard? The game forum is blowing up. Someone broke the news that there will be a monster riot in the next update, and the forbidden area will be reset. Rare equipment is falling all over the ground, but the risk is extremely high, and the guilds are preparing to form a team to grab it. That guy Li Wei is already recruiting people, saying he wants to monopolize the drop points." Ruoxi's heart tightened. Weiwei was her old friend, an intelligence expert, and could always dig out hidden clues in the game. She lowered her voice. "Weiwei, I know more. The riot will be 3 days later, at midnight. The entrance to the Forbidden Land will collapse, and the boss inside will be refreshed, dropping at least blue equipment, and even legendary ones. I have a premonition." There was silence on the other end of the line for 2 seconds, and then Weiwei burst into laughter. "Precognition? Girl, are you kidding me? But it sounds true." Some people on the forum speculated that the reset would release the Guardian Beast, which has super high defense and is basically impossible to kill alone. But if you have the inside story, we can try to go alone. There are many people like Li Wei, but they are also noisy. Maybe you can take advantage of the loopholes. Ruoxi smiled. Weiwei's optimism always infected her. "If you go alone, you will go alone. I don't want to be laughed at anymore. Help me keep an eye on the guild's movements and don't let them block the road." They chatted for about 10 minutes, and Weiwei shared the terrain map around the forbidden area, dense fog forests, hidden side entrances, and also gave some tips on avoiding patrol monsters. During the interaction, Ruoxi felt that Weiwei was reliable. Unlike Li Wei, who was arrogant, Weiwei always regarded her as a partner, not a burden. This made her plan more solid. First, take a detour through the foggy forest, avoid the main road, and sneak in early in the morning. After ending the call, Ruoxi was about to log off when the system alarm suddenly sounded. "Warning. Nearby players have initiated a PvP challenge." She looked up and saw Li Wei's guild team rushing out of the forest, surrounded by 5 people, their axes and staffs shining with cold light. "Little transparent, I walked too fast just now and didn't play with you enough. Come and practice your skills with me." Li Wei smiled evilly and swung his axe, bringing up wind pressure. Ruoxi instinctively retreated, but a premonition flashed through her mind. They would outflank them from the left wing, and she only had to go behind a tree to use the terrain to counterattack. The practicality of the golden finger was instantly proven. The corners of her mouth raised, her steps moved lightly, and she ducked into a bush. The guild boy rushed up, but missed. "Where are the people?" Li Wei shouted. "Here." Ruoxi jumped out from the side, her sword light piercing a lone archer like lightning. Precognition allowed her to accurately predict the opponent's dodge, and the sword tip hit the vital point. The system prompts: kill the player's archer and gain 10 PK points. The archer fell to the ground and gained experience points. The others were shocked, and Li Wei yelled, "Call around. There's something weird about this girl." But Ruoxi had already rolled into the grass, and his hearing caught their footsteps, 2 on the left and 3 on the right. She took a deep breath, feeling her heartbeat synchronize with the game, and her excitement was mixed with a sense of control she had never had before. She didn't fight head-on, but used precognition to lure them, pretending to run away to the edge of the forest, leading them to pursue them into the trap area. The soil underfoot was soft, making a gurgling sound when stepped on, and the air was filled with the smell of rotten leaves. When Li Wei and the others were chasing after them, a group of hidden wild wolves suddenly sprang out, the predicted ambush point. The wolves pounced on the guild team, and Ruoxi took advantage of the chaos to fight back, slicing through a mage's shield with her sword. Ding! Kill the player's mage and explode a blue wrist guard X1. Blue outfit. Rare attributes flash, plus 15 agility, plus 10 attack speed. She quickly picked it up and put the equipment on her body, feeling that her arms were as light as the wind. Li Wei and the others were in a mess, with wolf howls and curses mixed in. Get out! This woman is guilty. Li Wei said harsh words and led the team to escape. Ruoxi didn't chase her and stood there, the cold light of the blue wristband reflecting on her face. She touched the hilt of the sword, and a warm current surged in her heart. It turns out that I can also fight back. From low self-esteem to self-confidence, this is the only step. As night fell, Ruoxi checked her backpack to confirm that the supplies were complete. Wei Wei's message came again, "Come on, sister. I'll wait for the news of your counterattack." She smiled and replied, "Definitely." Putting the long sword on her back, she set foot on the forest path leading to the forbidden area. The steps are firm, and the wind blows through the treetops, like a whisper of encouragement. The crisis is coming, but she is no longer the little transparent one, she is an adventurer who is about to break into the forbidden land, ready to receive the glory that belongs to her. The fog on the forest path became thicker and thicker, like a curtain deliberately cast by the game designer. Ruoxi's boots stepped on the wet leaves, making a small, rustling sound. The air was filled with the smell of damp moss, mixed with the low roars of wild beasts in the distance, which made her heart beat faster involuntarily. The blue wristband felt slightly hot on her wrist, and the attribute bonus made her movements more sensitive. She felt like a sneaking cat, moving forward silently. The foreknowledge image is still echoing in my mind. The riots in 3 days will cause the entrance to the Forbidden Land to collapse, but now, the fringe has begun to be restless, players have heard the news, and the server chat channel is full of clamors of Forbidden Land reset, and rare drops. At dawn, Ruoxi finally climbed up a small slope, and the scene at the edge of the forbidden area came into view. In front of him was a gray-black canyon, with cliffs like the teeth of giant beasts. A strange blue light shone faintly at the bottom of the canyon, which was the protective barrier at the entrance to the Forbidden Land. Players came like ants, hundreds of people crowded on the main road, guild flags fluttering, shouts of death and footsteps mixed together. The iron-blooded guild had the most members. Li Wei rode his war horse, held his axe high, and shouted, "Brothers, listen to me. The main road goes straight to the entrance. Whoever grabs the boss head will be rewarded with a blue suit." His younger brothers responded, pushing the individual players, and the scene turned into a mess. The air was filled with sweat and excitement. Some people had even started fighting. The sword light flashed and the system's kill notification sounded. Ruoxi squatted in the bushes behind the slope, observing through the gaps in the leaves, feeling secretly grateful. The premonition told her that the main road would be blocked, the conflict between the guilds would drag on for at least 2 hours, and that the secret trail, a sheep intestine along the canyon wall, would be safe and clear before the riot. She took a deep breath of cool air, feeling the air in her lungs was refreshing and stimulating. You can't confront them head-on. You have to go your own way. She murmured to herself, feeling an unprecedented sense of independence in her heart. In the past, she always followed the guild to pick up the slack, but now, this golden finger has made her a prophet. She walked around the top of the slope and slid towards the canyon wall with light steps. The secret path was hidden behind vines, and she gently opened it with her sword, revealing a narrow crack. The wind blew from inside, carrying the fishy smell of underground soil, which made her shiver. As soon as I took a few steps, there was a sudden rustling sound from behind. Someone was following me. Flash of foreknowledge, 3 individual players, a motley crew of more than 20 levels, saw her walking alone and wanted to take advantage of her PK. "Hey, miss, are you alone? How about borrowing some travel expenses? A rude voice sounded, and 3 figures jumped out from the main road. The leader of the thief was holding a dagger, with greed in his eyes. Another archer aimed his bow, and the third was a squat warrior with a shield in front of him. Ruoxi's heart sank, but she didn't panic. She scanned her surroundings. The trail was flanked by steep canyon walls, with loose rocks above and a rushing stream below. The predictions showed that they would outflank them from the left, and she only needed to lure them, and then she could use the terrain to counterattack. Borrowing travel expenses? Sorry, I'm so poor that I only have my sword. She deliberately slowed down her pace, pretending to be panicked and retreating, her voice trembling, but hiding her calculations. The thief smiled grimly. Why are you pretending to be innocent? Brothers, come on. They rushed up, and the archer shot an arrow, which grazed her shoulder, causing a burning pain. The system prompts, HP -20. Ruoxi rolled to the side, hooked the tip of her sword on a piece of loose stone, and kicked it violently. The stone rolled down and hit the thief's leg. He screamed, "Ah! My foot!" Precognition allowed her to accurately time the stone. The stone caused a small collapse like a domino, and dust flew up, blocking the view. The warrior roared, "Don't run." He raised his shield and charged forward, but Ruoxi had already dodged to the recess of the canyon wall. Using the agility of the blue wrist guard, she flashed her sword and pierced the weak point of his armor. Ding! Critical hit, kill the player's warrior, gain 80 experience points and 50 copper coins. The warrior fell to the ground and burst out a small potion. The archer panicked and fired 2 arrows in succession. Ruoxi dodged sideways and 1 arrow embedded in the stone wall, making a buzzing tremor. She threw a pebble from her backpack with her backhand, not to attack, but to lure him into the mud beside the stream. The archer's foot slipped and he fell into the water. The rapid stream dragged him downstream in an instant. Help, help! His cry faded away, and the system prompted, the player's archer drowned, PK points +5. The thief got up, covered in dust, and stared at her. You woman, you have a chance. But he was already bleeding, and Ruoxi didn't give him a chance, and the sword blade swept across his throat like the wind. Kill the player thief and get 70 experience points and dagger X1. She picked up the dagger. Although it was not suitable for swordsmen, it could be sold for money. After the battle, the surroundings returned to tranquility, with only the sound of the gurgling stream and the wind blowing on the vines remaining. Ruoxi leaned against the stone wall, gasping for air, her heart beating like a drum. The excitement of going solo for the first time ran through my body like electricity, not fear, but excitement. It turns out that I can protect myself. She touched the hilt of the sword and felt that her fingers were stronger. The weakness of the past seems to be shattered at this moment. Memories came to mind. 3 months ago, Li Wei's guild was spawning monsters in the wild. She passed by and wanted to form a team, but they used her as a target for training. Little transparent, get away. Don't get in the way. Li Wei's axe brushed against her helmet, and his ridicule was like a knife piercing her heart. She could only run away at that time, her health was at the bottom, and she felt so humiliated that she wanted to delete her account. At that time, she was like a shadow, always being stepped on. But now, Goldfinger awakens something, not anger, but resilience. A wave of resilience unique to women surges from the bottom of my heart. I am not a vase, I am a sword. I want to prove that women can also dominate this continent. Li Wei, just wait and see, I will make you regret every taunt you make. She shook her head to get rid of distracting thoughts. The friend channel lights up, and Wei Wei's voice pops up, Ruoxi. Where are you? The forum said that scattered people are running around, don't be targeted. I just dug up a hidden map clue. The entrance to the forbidden area is not at the bottom of the main gorge, there is a fake trap there. The real entrance is behind the vines on the east side, there is a hidden stone door, enter, Guardian of Shadows to open it. But be careful, the first trap is a poisonous mist trap, prepare the antidote. Ruoxi's eyes lit up, and Weiwei's information was as timely as rain. Thanks, Weiwei. I just got rid of a few followers and am heading east. How do you know so much? She walked back, her steps brisk on the path. The stones on the canyon wall were rough and cold to the touch. She ran her hands over them and felt the hidden veins. The details of the game world were always so real. Weiwei giggled, I have my channels. I'm an intelligence expert. Remember, there are signs of small riots in front of the stone gate, and monsters will rush out to test them first. Don't fight hard, just fight around. Come on, girl, if you get the rare equipment, I will be the first to lick the screen. The call ended and Ruoxi quickened her pace. The predictions suddenly flashed again. At the end of the path ahead, there was a small riot of monsters within half an hour. 5 intermediate werewolves sprang out from the cracks, level 28, suitable for ambush and harvest. The corners of her mouth raised. This was a crisis, but also an opportunity. She found a high ground, hid behind a rock, and took out the trap props in her backpack, a few ropes and rocks. He quickly set up a tripping net, disguised as fallen leaves. The wind blew, carrying the fishy smell of beasts, and she waited with bated breath, counting the seconds in her heart. Sure enough, a low roar came from the ground, cracks opened, and 5 werewolves jumped out. Their hair was like steel needles, and their claws scratched the ground with a click sound. They sniffed the air and swooped down the path. The first one stepped on the trap and the rope tightened. It tripped and hit the rocks with a muffled sound. The other werewolves were alert and turned their heads to roar, but Ruoxi had already jumped down from the high ground, and the sword light pierced the leader's eyes. Ding! Critical hit, HP minus 150. The werewolf howled miserably. She turned sideways to dodge the claw attack, feeling the wind pressure brushing her cheeks, bringing a slight chill. Fighting is like a dance. She uses the attack speed of the blue bracer to flash her sword, and her foresight allows her to always be one step ahead. The werewolf jumped out of the air and crashed into the stream. The other one was lured into the tripwire by her and fell to pieces. Harvest time! She shouted, sealing her throat with a sword, and the system rang continuously. Kill a werewolf, the experience value is plus 200. Kill a werewolf, the experience value is plus 180. All 5 were wiped out, the experience bar increased sharply, and the level jumped from 25 to 27. The backpack landed with a clang, wolf skin x3, and a low-level amulet with plus 5 defense attributes. Her cloth armor was initially optimized to make the shoulder feel stronger. Ruoxi wiped the blood on her sword and felt light all over her body. The exhilaration of turning a crisis into an opportunity made her laugh out loud. This is the game. She continued to move forward, with the vines on the east side in sight. Pushing open the green curtain, the stone door looms, with ancient runes flashing. She entered, Guardian of Shadows, and the door slowly opened, revealing a dark passage with the fragrance of herbs floating in the air. But here comes the climax. At the entrance of the passage, the first mechanism is triggered. Green poisonous mist spewed out, and the system warned, poison state, health value minus 10 per second. Ruoxi coughed, the mist was pungent, like acid rain on her skin. She recalled Weiwei's reminder and quickly took out the werewolf teeth she had just picked up from her backpack. The premonition revealed that this was the key to detoxification. She inserted her teeth into the groove in the wall, the mist rolled back, and the mechanism clicked shut. Deep in the passage, a treasure chest appeared. She opened it. Inside were 5 low-level antidote potions and 3 vitality potions. The bottle of the potion is cool, and its attributes plus 20 life recovery make her instantly full of strength. Confidence in survival is overwhelming. Ruoxi holds the medicine bottle tightly and is determined, this is just the beginning. At the end of the passage, the core of the forbidden area awaited her. She stepped deeper, her footsteps echoing on the stone walls, like a call from fate. Weiwei's voice echoed in her head, come on. And she was ready to face an even bigger storm. The air deep in the passage became duller, as if covered with a layer of ancient dust. Ruoxi's boots stepped on the gravel, making a slight click sound, and each step echoed in the narrow stone walls. The faint light of the blue wristband illuminates a few meters ahead. The wall is covered with withered yellow vines, and there is a faint green fluorescence. It is the moss unique to the forbidden area, which is said to have absorbed the residue of ancient magic. She took a deep breath, and her nose was filled with a damp musty smell and a faint smell of sulfur, which made her frown. Predictive images flashed in his mind. 50 meters ahead, the fog would suddenly surge, hiding 3 traps, ground spikes, poisonous arrows and phantom walls. She slowed down and touched the hilt of the sword with her fingers. She felt the coldness of the metal pass into her palm and stabilized her mind. "Don't be careless, this place is too dark," she murmured in a low voice, her steps as light as a cat. Sure enough, around the corner, a cloud of white mist rolled in like a living thing, and his vision blurred for an instant, leaving only the sound of dripping water in his ears and a low hum in the distance. Precognition guided her, turned 3 steps to the left to avoid the ground thorn. She dodged sideways and heard a click sound, the ground cracked, and sharp stone thorns came out, brushing against the corners of her clothes, bringing with them the slightest bit of cool breeze. With her heart beating faster, she gritted her teeth and continued, "On the right wall, there is a poison arrow mechanism." She tapped the stone wall with her sword, and her prediction showed the point of impact. The arrows shot out, but they deviated from the trajectory and embedded themselves in the opposite wall, making a ding metal collision. Finally, there was the phantom wall. A fake door appeared in the fog. She was not fooled, and walked around the real crack. When she pushed it open, the fog dispersed, revealing an abandoned ruins. The ruins are like a forgotten kingdom, with broken walls and ruins standing, and 10-meter-high stone pillars tilted. The surface is covered with vague runes, and the wind blows, bringing with it the sound of gravel grinding. There is a circular square in the center, with rusty iron chains scattered on the central altar, and broken clay pots scattered around, with a faint blue light shining inside, possibly low-level ores. Ruoxi stepped in carefully. The ground under her feet was soft, as if she were stepping on decayed sheepskin. She squatted down and picked up a piece of pottery, and the system prompted. Fragments of ruins were found, which can be used for side tasks. Excitement filled her heart. This was the beginning of a hidden side quest. Flash of precognition. Collect 5 fragments to unlock the acceleration skill book. The attribute bonus makes her as quick as the wind in a crisis. But the pressure of being alone is always there. She looked around at the empty ruins, with only the sound of her own breathing in her ears, recalling that in the past, she always relied on Weiwei's information or temporary team formation, but now, "It's all up to you." There was a sour feeling in my heart. If something goes wrong, there is no one to help me. Can I really be independent? But then, a stubbornness emerged. Because of this, I want to prove it. I am no longer the little transparent person hiding behind the guild. I want to use my own sword to break out of this world. She gripped the sword tightly, feeling the muscles in her arm tighten slightly, breaking away from the shackles of dependence and turning to an independent tenacity. Just as she bent down to pick up the second fragment, a low growl came from the edge of the square. Foreknowledge alarm. A group of small monsters, 5 shadow rats sprang out from the shadows, level 28, as fast as ghosts. Their weak point is the soft flesh at the base of their tails. Their hair was jet black, their eyes were as red as blood beads, their claws made a squeaking sound when they scratched the ground, and the air was filled with a rotten smell. Ruoxi instinctively retreated. The sword was unsheathed, and the blue light shone on her face, making her look particularly determined. "Come on, little ones, let me try my new skills," she whispered, her steps flexible as she dodged the first one's attack, and the claw wind brushed her cheek, causing stinging pain. A swarm of shadow rats came like a tide. One jumped up from the left, and the other sneaked up from behind. Ruoxi took advantage of the terrain of the ruins and rolled towards the stone pillar. Prediction asked her to predict the trajectory, so a mouse would hit the pillar. She dodged sideways, and the rat body hit the stone pillar with a muffled sound, revealing the weak point of its tail. Ruoxi raised the tip of her sword and pierced the soft flesh. Ding! Critical hit, HP minus 120. The rat fell to the ground with a howl, and black fur X1 exploded. She didn't pause, turned around to face the sneak attack from behind, and swept the sword across, forcing the second one back. An inner monologue flashed through, "Don't panic, defeat them one by one, just like Wei Wei taught, keep a steady rhythm." The group of monsters were alert, forming a half circle, their red eyes flashing, and their low roars mixed with squeaking sounds. Ruoxi took a deep breath, feeling the air in her lungs carry the smell of dust from the ruins, stimulating her senses. She launched a combo. Precognition showed that her basic sword skills plus blue wrist guard's attack speed allowed her to hit 3 times in a row. She made a mistake in her steps and dodged to the side of the third one. The sword light was like a shooting star. The first strike stabbed the tail, the second strike cut off the legs, and the third strike sealed the throat. Ding ding ding. Successful combo, extra damage plus 50. The shadow rat exploded, and the system responded, kill the shadow rat, experience value plus 150, get shadow crystal X1. The shadow crystal shines with a faint light, and the attribute prompts, rare material, can forge a talisman with plus 10% agility. The potential of the equipment was beginning to emerge, and she felt excited. If this thing could be sold in exchange for a good suit of armor, it would be better to use it herself, the starting point from novice equipment to top-level equipment. The remaining 2 rats got angry and pounced on each other, attacking one after another. Ruoxi jumped onto the broken wall, the wind roaring from her ears. She took advantage of the situation and rolled, slashing the sword from the sky, predicting her weak point so that she would hit with 1 hit. Critical hit. Kill the shadow rat, shadow crystal X1. The last one tried to escape, and she caught up with it, the sword following it like a shadow, ending the battle. The square returned to silence, leaving only the bloody smell of rat corpses and her breathing. Ruoxi leaned on the stone pillar and wiped the black blood on the sword, feeling her muscles sore all over her body. This is the joy of growing up. The experience bar has increased to level 28, and sword proficiency plus 5. She picked up the shadow crystal and felt it was as cool as jade. She felt a sense of accomplishment in her heart. It turns out that walking alone can be so enjoyable. In the past, I always wanted to share the burden with my teammates, but now I understand that only by being independent can I truly take control. The friend channel suddenly lit up, and Wei Wei's voice was hurried. Ruoxi. Are you deep in the forbidden area? Hear it soon, the Iron-Blooded Guild is making a big move. That bastardly Wei organized a team of 50 people and broke in from the main road. The forum was filled with their shouts of killing. I heard that they had broken the first barrier and headed straight for the ruins area. Be careful, don't run into it. Ruoxi's heart tightened, and a premonition flashed through her. The guild's brigade would arrive at the edge of the square within half an hour, causing a melee. She lowered her voice and replied, Wei Wei, thank you for the information. I just solved the shadow rat swarm and got the rare materials. The guild is here. Humph, Li Wei really doesn't give up. Wei Wei chuckled, with worry in her voice. Yeah, he shouted to monopolize the drops, and the individual players were trampled miserably by them. It's too dangerous for you to go alone. How about I get a team to support? That guy Wenhao is online, he is a tank, super reliable. Wenhao. The reliable warrior appeared in Ruoxi's mind. She had formed several teams in the past, and he always stood in front of her, his shield like a mountain, which made her feel at ease. But she shook her head, feeling a sudden change in her heart. She could no longer rely on her. This crisis is my own battlefield. Prove to them that I, Ruoxi, can also stand alone. No, Wei Wei. I have to do it by myself. Keep an eye on their movements and help me tell them. Wei Wei sighed, okay, stubborn girl. Remember, there is a hidden branch in the center of the ruins, don't miss it. Come on, I believe you. The call ended and the tense atmosphere filled the air like a fog. Ruoxi picked up the fragments quickly, her footsteps echoing on the ruins. The noise of the guild could be heard faintly in the distance, the sound of horse hooves and shouts were mixed together, like the prelude of a storm. She gathered 5 fragments together, the altar lit up with golden light, and the system prompted, trigger the hidden branch, legacy of shadow. Sacrifice the fragments to unlock the skill book. She embedded the fragments into the groove, the ground shook, and a thin book appeared, accelerating wind, elementary. After use, the movement speed is plus 30%, lasting 10 seconds, cooling down for 1 minute. Ruoxi grabbed the book, and the system dinged, learning successfully. Skill unlocked. She tried to activate it, and wind blew under her feet. Her figure flashed past the stone pillars like an afterimage. She felt the air being torn apart, and the sound of wind whistled in her ears. The feeling of exhilaration is overwhelming. This skill perfectly fits her swordsman's style, preparing for the upcoming crisis. What if the guild comes? She can shuttle faster and more nimbly. A sense of independence burned within her, from a girl who relied on her team to an adventurer who ventured alone into forbidden lands. This transformation made her back straight. But the predictions suddenly flashed violently. Deep in the ruins ahead, there was a sign of the guardian boss. The earth's veins were shaking, and a small tide of monsters was about to emerge. Li Wei's guild voice is getting closer and closer, shouting to kill like thunder. She gripped the sword tightly, and the lingering wind of acceleration made her legs light, stepping deeper into the ruins. The wind blew through the broken wall, like a whispered challenge, and she smiled. Come on, let the crisis see my growth. The air deep in the ruins suddenly became heavy, as if being suppressed by an invisible giant hand. Ruoxi's skin felt itchy, and prophetic images flooded into her mind. At midnight, the game update was triggered, the Forbidden Lands veins collapsed, and monster riots broke out like a tsunami. Shadow rats, werewolves, and even mid-level monsters would emerge from the cracks, and the guild team would be dragged into the melee. And she, Ruoxi, only needed to sneak in half an hour in advance to use precognition to guide the monsters to fight each other and reap the benefits. Her heartbeat accelerated, and the palm of her hand holding the sword was slightly sweaty. She felt the moisture on her fingertips intertwined with the coldness of the sword's hilt. That's it now. She whispered, the lingering effects of her accelerating wind skill still lingering, and her footsteps slid towards the core of the ruins like the wind. In the distance, the guild's noise was like thunder, and Li Wei's roar could be heard vaguely. Speed up. The boss is inside. Whoever dares to steal my drops, I will chop him up. The torches of the iron-blooded guild lit up the night, but Ruoxi ignored them. She walked around a pile of collapsed stone pillars and found the layout point marked in advance, a narrow underground passage, leading to the monster's lair and the boss altar at both ends. The entrance to the passage was covered with thorns. She opened it gently with her sword, and the pungent smell of blood hit her face, like carrion fermenting in the sultry heat. Prediction shows, there are 10 mad wolves in the left nest and 5 stone demons in the right nest. Leading them to the left and right will make them kill each other and clear a bloody path. Ruoxi took a deep breath, and the smell of sulfur in the mist made her cough twice. She first threw a stone and hit it at the left nest. The stone rolled down and made a gurgling sound. The wild wolves were alert and roared out. Their hair stood up like steel brushes and their eyes flashed green in the darkness. Come on, fools. She murmured, activated the accelerating wind, her silhouette flashed, walked around the middle of the passage, and threw a second stone, this time aiming at the right nest. The stone demons moved clumsily, and the rock bodies rubbed against each other, making a loud, crack sound. Their fists were like hammers. When they hit the ground, the vibrations were transmitted to Ruoxi's feet, making her feel that the earth was shaking. The wolves rushed into the passage first, smelled the breath of the stone demon, and immediately became mad and rushed towards the opposite side. The stone demon counterattacked with a fist, smashing 2 wolf heads with one punch. Blood and flesh splattered on the passage wall, making a wet sound. The wolves fought back, biting the stone demon's joints, scattering gravel and wolf hair, and roaring deafeningly. Ruoxi hid behind the thorns and watched the battle through the gap, feeling secretly happy. The prediction is so powerful. The monsters fought each other so hard that there were only 3 wolves left in the pack and only 2 stone demons left. She didn't rush to take action, and waited until they were exhausted before leaping out from the flank and stabbing the last wolf in the throat with her sword shining like lightning. Ding! Critical hit, kill the mad wolf, experience plus 250. The wolf's blood sprayed on her arm, warm and sticky. She frowned and shook it off, turning to face the stone demon. The stone demon turned around, the fist wind roared. Ruoxi rolled to the ground to dodge, and felt the air flow blowing over her head, bringing a slight chill. Flash of precognition, its weakness is the crack in its back. She went around to the side, taking advantage of the narrowness of the passage, and pierced the crack with the tip of her sword. With a click, stone fragments flew and the stone demon staggered. The inner monologue is like a flame, I can't retreat, this is my way. She stabbed 3 times in a row, and with the help of her skills, the blade penetrated as deeply as a drill. Kill the stone demon and get rock crystal X2. The experience bar skyrocketed and the level was approaching 29. The aftermath of the fight between the monsters caused the passage to become a river of blood. She stepped on the slippery ground, carefully avoiding the corpses, and finally approached the altar. But the riot has officially broken out. The system-wide alarm sounded, update crisis triggered. Forbidden Land Monsters Riot, S-level event begins. 10% experience will be deducted when player dies, and all dropped items explode. The earth trembled, cracks opened in all directions, countless monsters emerged from the ground, and roars swept across like ocean waves. The guild brigade's killing shouts were mixed in, and Li Wei's voice was very close at hand, hold it. Tanks come forward, mages bomb. Ruoxi's heart tightened, and the premonition showed, the boss guardian beast, the shadow-devouring dragon, has awakened from the altar. It is entrenched like a giant python, its scales are black and shiny, its wings are spread out to cover the sky and the moon, its eyes are shining like rubies, and the air is filled with its fishy wind. The shadow-devouring dragon roared, swept its tail, and smashed the nearby stone pillars, and the fragments fell like rain. Ruoxi instinctively retreated, but the wave of monsters was already coming. Small monsters rushed towards her, their claws flashing. She started to accelerate and rolled to avoid the dive of a bat beast. She felt the wind pressure brought by her wings pressing on her back, as heavy as a mountain. The sword light counterattacked, piercing the bat's wing membrane, ding. Kill, experience plus 100. But the boss had locked onto her, the dragon's breath spurted out, and green poisonous flames surged in like a sea of fire. Ruoxi rolled towards the cliff next to the altar, and the poisonous flames licked the ground, making a sizzling, corrosive sound. She felt the heat waves scalding her skin, and her health points dropped wildly, -50. -40. She hurriedly drank the vitality potion, and the coolness entered her throat, restoring some of her health bars. Damn, this guy is too strong. She gasped, foreseeing the guidance. The boss's weak point is in the gap between the scales on its abdomen, and uses the terrain to lure it into hitting the pillar. She shouted to attract hatred, come on, big lizard. The shadow-devouring dragon roared and rushed towards it, leaving deep grooves on the ground with its claws. Ruoxi dodged, and the dragon's body hit the stone pillar. There was a loud boom, the pillar fell over, and dust flew up. She took the opportunity to jump up, and stabbed her abdomen with the tip of the sword, critical hit. -300. The dragon's blood spurted out, and the stench hit her nostrils. When she landed, her feet slipped and she almost fell into the crack. Fear welled up in my heart, but then it turned into stubbornness. I can't fail, this is my counterattack. The battle intensified, and monsters came in waves. Ruoxi was overwhelmed, and she killed several mobs with a swing of her sword. However, the boss's tail swept her flying several meters, and she hit the wall, causing severe pain in her back like fire. Life -80. She gritted her teeth and climbed up, flashing with prediction. After 3 seconds, the dragon will launch a range of dragon breath. She rolled towards a pile of corpses, and just as she hid, green flames swept through, scorching the surrounding monsters, and the system issued a series of kill prompts. She had used the power of the boss to clear the area. Taking advantage of the chaos, she counterattacked, rolled closer, and stabbed the seam of her abdomen with her sword. Ding ding. Combo, extra damage plus 100. Shadow-devouring dragon roared in pain, fanned its wings, and set off a sandstorm. Ruoxi closed her eyes to dodge, feeling the gravel hitting her face like needles. Just when her health bar bottomed out, a loud sound from the shield came. Ruoxi, hold on. I'm coming. Wenhao's voice was like a savior. He rushed out from the side path, his level 40 warrior equipment flashed, and his shield blocked the dragon's tail blow. Wenhao turned his head, with a reliable warmth in his voice. I just passed by and saw the riot. I heard Weiwei said you were here. Fighting the boss alone. That's awesome. But don't be brave, I'll be on the front line and you take damage. Ruoxi was stunned. When forming a team in the past, he was always the silent tank who never talked nonsense. But now, the light of his shield reflected in her eyes, making her feel warm. Prediction shows, he can block 3 rounds of attacks from the boss, giving her a chance to deliver a fatal blow. Thanks, Wenhao. Help me avoid the weak spot on the left side of the abdomen, she shouted, and the two of them cooperated tacitly. Wenhao rushed forward and struck the dragon's claws with his shield. Boom! The dragon's body deflected and he roared, now, get on. Ruoxi accelerated and rolled closer, her sword piercing deep into the seam of her belly like lightning. Final blow. -500. The shadow-devouring dragon wailed, its giant body collapsed, and the system was in complete shock. Kill the guardian boss shadow-devouring dragon. Get plus 5,000 experience points, level up to 30. Drop, shadow-devouring sword, rare, plus 50 attack, plus 30 agility, with shadow-devouring skill, absorb 5% of the enemy's life. The sword light fell to the ground, Ruoxi picked it up, and the equipment was instantly fused. The new sword felt like an arm and a finger, power poured in like a tide, the limbs were light, and the attributes skyrocketed, the attack jumped from 120 to 170, and the agility exceeded 200. She tried to swing her sword, and the sword energy swept out like a black light. The surrounding monsters were cut into 2 pieces, ding ding. She killed 5 in a row, and her experience was like snowflakes. It's so cool. She laughed out loud and said in her heart, this power is not dependent on me, I earned it myself. From being transparent since childhood to this moment, my confidence is like fire, burning away the haze of the past. She no longer cowered, but held her chest out like a queen. Wenhao wiped his sweat. The shield was full of claw marks. He grinned, sister, your sword is an artifact level, right? That wave of output just now was so cool. Weiwei didn't lie. Did you really predict it? Ruoxi nodded, holding the sword firmly, that's right. Thank you for holding on, otherwise I'd be in trouble. Let's team up temporarily. Wenhao laughed, with a hint of intimacy in his voice, of course. Let's go deeper. I heard there is a hidden copy inside. But the fun isn't over yet. A scout of the Iron-Blooded Guild, one of Li Wei's men, crawled out from behind the ruins, his face covered in blood and his eyes widened. Are you that little transparent Ruoxi? Just defeat the boss. Oh my god, Boss Li, a big discovery. He quickly turned on the voice, and his voice trembled, boss. There is a female swordsman in the forbidden area, killing the shadow-devouring dragon alone. Got a rare sword. She crushed the tide of monsters. The guild channel exploded instantly, and Li Wei's roar echoed, what? That bitch? Chase. I want her to dress up. But the scout was so frightened that he backed away. Ruoxi sneered and flashed her sword, forcing him to stay away. Go back and tell Li Wei that next time we meet, I want him to kneel and call me sister. The pleasure of being slapped in the face ran through her like an electric current. Ruoxi felt her whole body hot, and the taste of the counterattack was sweet and exciting. The tide of monsters is still there, but she is no longer afraid. The new sword absorbs the life of the mobs, and the health bar automatically fills up. Wen Hao was escorting them. The two fought and retreated, using their swords and shields together to kill them all the way. Predictive flash: the entrance to the hidden dungeon ahead requires a legendary skill book. She decided to move forward with firm steps, and the wind blew through the bloody ruins, as if applauding her new life. Wei Wei's message popped up. I heard it. It's incredible, girl. Keep charging. Ruoxi smiled and replied, this is just the beginning. She and Wen Hao went deep side by side, with the roar of the riot behind them and the glory in front. The air in the core of the forbidden area is like solidified gel, sticky and dull. Ruoxi's shadow-devouring sword glows slightly in the darkness, and the black light on the blade pulses like a living thing, absorbing the residual breath of the monsters around it. She felt that the new equipment was like a second skin, and the power flowed from her arms to her whole body, making every step as light as stepping on clouds. Wen Hao walked in front, holding his shield high, and his iron boots crushed the gravel on the ground, making a crisp sound. His breathing was steady, and sweat slid down his virtual forehead, reflecting the flickering light of the torch. Girl, this sword is really good. When the boss fell just now, all the monsters around him were stunned. We have to hurry up, the iron-blooded guys are like dogskin plaster, they can't be shaken off. Ruoxi nodded, her hand holding the sword steady. She glanced behind her, and a precognitive scene flashed. The guild brigade was outflanking the main road, with torches approaching like a swarm of insects, but the side path was hidden behind the collapsed rocks and could be avoided for at least half an hour. Take a side path, Wen Hao. You resist the elite monster in front of you, and I'll deal the damage. Don't be brave, just listen to my command. Her voice was steady, with an unquestionable flavor. In the past, she always followed behind her teammates, but now she naturally gives orders. The golden finger not only gave her foresight, but also awakened the leadership within her. Although it was nice to walk alone, the shield of her companion made the burden on her shoulders feel lighter. Wen Hao was stunned for a moment, then grinned, okay, I'll listen to you. That's what tanks should do, protect you, the damage queen. They drilled into the side path. The stone wall was narrow, and the wind blew from the cracks, mixed with the musty smell of the ground, making people's nose itchy. The prediction shows that 50 meters ahead is the elite monster area, 3 armored scorpions, level 32, with a wide attack range of poisonous tails, and the weak point is the soft shell on the abdomen. The scorpions were hiding in the sand pit, their armor reflected the shimmering light, their tail hooks were dripping with green juice, and the air was filled with a sour poisonous smell. Ruoxi whispered, Wen Hao, the one on the left is the biggest, lead it over. I'll attack the other two from the side. Wen Hao nodded, and the shield hit the ground, making a metallic sound. The scorpions were alert, and the sound of crawling iron feet was as dense as raindrops. The leading armored scorpion rushed towards Wen Hao with its tail hooked like a whip. He raised his shield to block it, and there was a loud, bang, sound. The shield's surface was dented, and the poisonous juice splashed out, making a sizzling, corrosive sound. The system prompts, Wen Hao's life is -60, poisoned. He groaned and steadied his steps, it's no joke. Girl, come on. Ruoxi did not waste the opportunity, her figure flashed, and with the blessing of the accelerating wind, she circled to the side of the scorpion like a ghost, and stabbed the belly with the sword of shadow. Ding! Critical hit, -400. The blade sucked the life, the black light flashed, the scorpion twitched and fell to the ground, exploding the poison sac X1. She felt that her blood bar was automatically filled up, and she felt a sense of pleasure running through her body like an electric current. This sword is too powerful, the output will be doubled if you focus on it. Wen Hao laughed and beat back the second one with his shield. There is a tacit understanding of cooperation. You are so prescient that you are cheating. Ruoxi replied while fighting, it's not cheating, it's experience. The one on the right has a tail hook to sweep, block it. Wen Hao turned his shield to block the attack, and the vibration was transmitted to the soles of her feet, making her feel the earth shaking. The third scorpion sprang out from the sand and attacked Wen Hao. Ruoxi jumped up and slashed down with sword light like an arcing moon, killing 2 people with residual blood in a row. Total destruction. Experience plus 300x3. The elite monsters were cleaned up, and the backpack jingled, armor fragments x2, which can be used to forge armor. She gasped and leaned against the stone wall. The touch was rough and cold, and warmth surged in her heart. When I was walking alone, I always fought and hid, but now with him supporting me, I can focus on the edge of the sword. This, the value of a partner is not just reliance, but a bonus to strength. Perhaps this is the charm of female leaders, they don't just take the glory, but they lead everyone to fight. The friend channel lit up, and Weiwei's voice was filled with excitement. Ruoxi. Wenhao has joined too. Great. Are you in the core area? I just got information from the black market. The boss of the hidden copy is Shadow Lord, level 45, the weak point is the rune core on the back of the neck. Use light or shadow weapons when attacking, otherwise it will summon a clone. The key is with the elite boss, is there any premonition? Ruoxi's eyes lit up, Weiwei's intelligence always pushed her forward. Yes, thank you Weiwei. The leader is lying in ambush at the gorge ahead and will arrive in 3 minutes. The weak point information is very useful. I will share it with you later. Weiwei giggled, what share? I'll enjoy watching you counterattack. Be careful with Li Wei, he has sent a team to search for you. I heard that he will capture you alive and ask for the secret of prediction. As soon as he finished speaking, the prediction flashed violently, there is an ambush in the gorge ahead. There are 5 elite shadow guards, the leader is the Shadow Blade Assassin, level 35, holding double blades and attacking with stealth. The shadow of the guild team was also approaching vaguely. Ruoxi pulled Wenhao, stop. There is an ambush, there is a group of shadow guards at the mouth of the gorge. Wenhao, you attack the leader from the front, and I will attack from the flanks. Listen to me for a few seconds, 3, 2, 1, charge. Her voice was firm, her eyes were shining. Wenhao nodded, with a hint of admiration in his eyes, leadership, I obey. He strode out, his shield hit the ground, making a roar, and the shadow guards appeared, black mist shrouded, and his eyes were like ghost fire. The leader, the Shadow Blade Assassin, appeared invisible and slashed at Wenhao with his double blades like the wind. The light of the sword cut through the air, causing a whooshing wind pressure. Wenhao shielded, clang. Sparks flew everywhere, he stepped back slightly, and shouted, come on. Ruoxi predicted the opportunity, accelerated to the side, and the shadow-devouring sword flourished with black light, piercing the back of the leader's neck. Weiwei's intelligence and precognition, perfect fit. Ding! Fatal hit, minus 600. Instantly kill the boss Shadow Blade Assassin. The assassin screamed and fell to the ground, bursting out a flashing dungeon key, Shadow Key. Attribute tip, open the hidden dungeon, which contains the legendary skill book. The other shadow guards were in chaos. Ruoxi killed 2 in a row with his sword sweep, and Wenhao wiped out the rest with his shield strike, kill them all. Girl, this operation is amazing. Ruoxi picked up the key, feeling as cold as jade, and her heart felt warm. From a lone wolf to a captain, this change made her spine straighten. The inner monologue is short but profound, partners are not baggage, they are wings. I can lead because I understand everyone's place. Wenhao patted her on the shoulder, Ruoxi, your command is accurate, I feel like a veteran. In the past, you always kept a low profile when we formed a team, but now, the queen's aura is perfect. She smiled, her voice soft but powerful, thank you. Walking alone taught me self-reliance, and you taught me trust. Let's go, the copy is waiting. But cool points are just warming up. Outside the mouth of the gorge, shouts of death rang out, and the provocative team sent by Li Wei sprang out, 3 iron-blooded members, led by a level 30 mad warrior with a blue light on his axe, and 2 archers behind him to assist. Hey, Little Transparent has been upgraded. I heard that you are single-playing the boss, why are you pretending to be a big-tailed wolf? Boss Li has ordered you to hand over the secret of prediction, otherwise you will be exposed. Quang Zhang grinned ferociously, swung his axe, bringing up wind pressure, the archer pulled the string to aim, the mage chanted fireball, and the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Ruoxi sneered, raised the sword of Shadow Devour, and the black light was like a wave. Secret? Tell Li Wei, let him kneel down and ask. Wen Hao stepped forward to block it, his shield flashed, looking for death. Come and try. A small-scale PK broke out, the crazy battle axe slashed the shield, and with a boom, Wen Hao stabilized, Ruoxi, side attack. She predicted the trajectory of the arrow, dodged to avoid the archer's shot, and the arrow grazed her hair, bringing a slight chill. The accelerating wind was activated, and she circled behind her like an afterimage, stabbing her waist and eyes with the sword, predicting her weakness and hitting her with a critical hit. Ding! -450, kill Quang Zhan. Quang Zhan fell to the ground and the blue axe exploded. Ruoxi picked it up and sold it without losing money. The archer fired a flurry of arrows. Ruoxi's sword energy swept away 2 of them, and the third one was deflected by Wen Hao's shield. She rolled closer, sucking life from the shadow, and sealed her throat with a sword. Kill the archer, PK points +20. The mage's fireball blasted, and the heat wave hit her face. Ruoxi rolled to the ground to avoid it, Wen Hao rushed forward, and smashed the mage's head with his shield. Headshot. Kill. The whole team was wiped out instantly, the squad's corpses were scattered, and the system was fully served. A prompt flashed vaguely. Although it was not a battle, the server chat exploded. The iron-blooded team was killed by the female swordsman Ruoxi. She took the boss sword. Li Wei's voice roared in the guild channel and reached Ruoxi's ears. Damn it. That woman, a fatwa, the whole guild is moving. The slap in the face was as refreshing as honey. Ruoxi felt the light of focus spread all over her body, and the ridicule in the past was shattered like bubbles. Wen Hao laughed loudly. Is Li Wei's face green? Girl, you are the focus of the whole server now, a nightmare for iron-blooded people. She nodded, feeling confident inside, from being stepped on transparently, to making opponents fearful. This is my counterattack. Wei Wei's message popped up. Well done. The forum is full of rumors about you, and the title of Queen of Prediction has become popular. Remember the weakness of the dungeon boss, the rune on the back of the neck, and use the shadow sword to restrain it. Wen Hao, protect my Ruoxi. Ruoxi smiled and replied, don't worry, we have entered the dungeon. She and Wen Hao walked side by side to the depths of the gorge, the key glowing in their hands, and the hidden entrance slowly opened. Inside is a dark hall, with the wind blowing coldly, like ghosts weeping and whispering. Flash of foreknowledge, the boss is in the center, crisis and opportunity coexist. She clenched her sword tightly, with a hint of warmth in her voice. Wen Hao, are you ready? This time, we will dominate together. He nodded, and the shield light reflected on her face. At your disposal at any time. Stepping deeper, the stone door of the hall closed with a bang, cutting off the pursuit of the outside world, leaving only their breathing and the rhythm of the battle that was about to break out. The stone door of the dark hall closed with a bang, cutting off the sound of the outside wind and the roar of monsters in the distance, leaving only the breaths of Ruoxi and Wen Hao echoing in the air. The air is filled with the smell of old books, mixed with the smell of rusty metal, making people feel like they have broken into a forgotten library. The walls were covered with glowing rune vines, and the faint blue light reflected the stone bricks on the ground. Each piece was engraved with ancient totems. When stepped on, it made a slight click sound, as if whispering a warning. Ruoxi held onto the shadow-devouring sword tightly, and the blade pulsed slightly, absorbing the remaining magic power around it, making her arms feel faintly hot. There's something wrong with this place, it feels alive. She whispered, her eyes scanning the arch in the center of the hall, where a layer of mist appeared, and a precognitive picture flashed. The hidden copy, Maze of Shadows, has been opened, and the first level is an illusion puzzle. If you make a wrong step, a permanent trap will be triggered. Wen Hao raised his shield, the iron surface reflected the vine light, and his face looked particularly determined in the shadows. Maze? It sounds troublesome. Girl, does your prediction work? Don't let me be a tank. He said half-jokingly, with a reliable calmness in his voice. Ruoxi nodded, feeling a little more at ease in her heart. When she was walking alone, she always rushed on instinct, but now, with her companions by her side, she began to think about her options. It works, but you have to do it step by step. Follow me and don't touch anything. She took the lead and stepped into the arch. The mist wrapped around her ankles like silk, and a chill climbed up her calves. Precognition shows, the maze is divided into 3 levels of illusion, each with a puzzle that must be solved to advance. The core is rune matching, but the hidden mechanism can collapse the entire layer to obtain additional rewards. The first illusion unfolded like a dream. The surrounding stone walls twisted and turned into endless mirrored corridors, reflecting their countless figures. Low murmurs echoed in the air, like countless ghosts whispering in their ears. Ruoxi's shadow lengthened in the mirror, and the sword light twisted into weird shapes, which made her feel nervous. This is an illusion, don't trust your eyes. She reminded Wen Hao of the precognitive guidance. There is a rune puzzle hidden in the mirror on the wall. The first piece is behind the 3rd mirror after turning left. She stretched out her sword and tapped the mirror. With a ding sound, the mirror shattered, revealing a piece of stone engraved with a wolf head rune. The stone flakes were cold in her hands and the surface was as rough as sandpaper. She felt the magic power flow into her arms like electricity. The wolf head represents agility and matches the door lock at the entrance. She murmured, with a flash of excitement in her heart, in the past, she always tried randomly to solve puzzles, wasting time, but now the prediction makes her precise, like playing chess, every move is calculated. Wen Hao was on guard, shield blocked, eyes scanning the mirror. Hurry up, sister, I heard footsteps, hallucination. Ruoxi shook her head. No, it's the 2nd level urging you. Keep up. She inserted the stone piece into the groove of the arch. Click with a click, the mirrored corridor disintegrated and entered the 2nd level, a rotating maze of stone bridges, with the bridge segments slowly turning like a giant wheel. Below was a bottomless abyss. The wind roared up from below, mixed with the burning smell of sulfur, making people dizzy. Flash of foreknowledge, there are 3 chain mechanisms on the bridge, which need to be pulled in order. If you make a mistake, the bridge will break and fall. She took a deep breath, feeling the pressure of the wind ruffling her long hair, and an impulse surged in her heart, rush over. But she paused, she could no longer be as reckless as before. The guild was chasing after her, and resourcefulness was king. She closed her eyes and recalled the details of her prediction. The first chain represented power, Ravenhau's shield, the 2nd chain represented wisdom, her sword pattern, the 3rd chain represented balance, the synchronization of the 2. Wen Hao, pull the chain on the left. There is a power rune on your shield. Then I pull the chain in the middle, and finally pull the right chain together. She commanded, her voice as steady as a military order. Wen Hao nodded. The chain was rough and cold. He pulled hard and there was a clang sound. The bridge section became stable and the rotation slowed down. Nyo. How do you know? He asked, admiration shining in his eyes. Ruoxi smiled, foreknowledge and brains. I used to be impulsive, but now I have to think carefully. The inner monologue was like a flood. The puzzle is not luck, but strategy. From the transparent blindness in childhood to the calculation now, this change made her feel like there was an extra layer of net in her mind, catching every opportunity. The resilience of female swordsmen lies not only in the edge of the sword, but also in their calmness. The bridge section transitions to the 3rd level. At the end of the illusion, the machine beast guards appear. 3 giant stone beasts woke up from the fog. Their bodies were as huge as tanks. Their joints made a crunching metal friction sound. Their eyes were flashing red, and their claws left deep grooves on the ground. The air was filled with the smell of engine oil and stone chips. The precognition showed that their core was the chest crystal, which required Wenhao to attract firepower, and she cracked it. But the beasts roared together, and the claw wind came like a hurricane. Ruoxi rolled to the ground to dodge, feeling the air flow across her face, causing a slight sting. Wenhao, hold on to the middle one. Leave the left one to me, she shouted, her heart beating faster, but she didn't panic. Wenhao rushed forward, the shield hit the ground, and a boom shook. He shouted, "Come on, iron lump." The claws of the middle mechanism fell down, the shield's surface was dented, and sparks flew everywhere. He stepped back slightly, and his life bar dropped by 20%. Sister, fight quickly. Ruoxi used the wind of acceleration to flash the afterimage of the figure to the side of the left beast, and stabbed the weak point of the joint with the sword blade. Ding! -200. Stone chips flew, and she felt the vibration of the sword as hard as diamonds. But the beast's tail swept towards her, and she predicted the opportunity and jumped on its back, the wind roaring from her ears. The right beast pounced on Wenhao, and she shouted, "Take 3 steps back and lead it into the wall." Wenhao cooperated tacitly, blocking the blow with his shield and then dodging. The beast's body hit the stone wall with a bang, and the cracks widened. The tacit understanding was as smooth as breathing. Ruoxi jumped off the beast's back and stabbed the crystal on its chest. Core, shatter. Black light erupted, shadow bite absorbed energy, the crystal cracked and shattered, and the beast's body stiffened and fell to the ground. Ding! Kill the mechanism beast, experience +400. Wenhao laughed, perfect coordination. You output, I support, invincible. The remaining 2 beasts were in chaos. Ruoxi predicted the climax. The rune lever hidden on the wall, if triggered, can collapse the entire guard system and obtain the legendary fragments. She scanned while fighting, and her inner mind changed like lightning. You can't just kill, you have to outwit. She dodged to avoid the claw attack, feeling her blood boiling, but forced herself to calm down. Impulse will kill, strategy will survive. Wenhao, hold on for 10 seconds. I'm looking for a mechanism. She shouted, rolled to the corner, struck the hidden brick with her sword, and with a click, the lever popped out. Foreknowledge tip, enter the order of the sword patterns: strength, wisdom, and balance. She embedded the shadow-devouring sword, the runes lit up, and the entire maze trembled. The machine beast moves slowly, the crystal resonates, the wall cracks, and stone chips fall like rain. Collapse. Wenhao roared, blocking the last attack of a beast with his shield. Ruoxi counterattacked, and the sword energy swept through the second core. Double kill. Experience +800. The third one shattered like a self-destruction, and the system was full. Trigger the hidden mechanism. Obtain the legendary skillbook fragment. The fragments were as crystal clear as thin ice, and the magic power flowed into her body, making Ruoxi feel that her legs and arms were as light as the wind. Overwhelmed with pleasure, she gasped and leaned against Wenhao's shield. A profound change occurred in her heart. In the past, I only knew how to be fast with the sword, but now I know that mysteries are like battlefields, and every step requires resourcefulness. This growth is not only strength, but also the transformation of brain and heart. She smiled, thank you, Wenhao. Without your help, I can't crack it. He wiped his sweat and said in a warm voice, it's a team matter. Queen, continue. But the joy was short-lived. The stone door behind exploded with a bang, and Gildley Wei's murderous shouts poured in like a tide. The team of 20 iron-blooded men rushed into the maze, with torches illuminating their faces. Li Wei took the lead in person, his axe flashing blue and his eyes red. Ruoxi. You little bitch, dare to kill me. Hand over the fragments and precognition, and I will spare your life. His voice was like thunder, his companions cocked their bows and arrows, the mage chanted fireballs, and the smell of gunpowder filled the air. Flash of foreknowledge, they block the exit, a chase is about to break out, and the team needs to escape through the multi-layered remaining maze. Ruoxi's heart sank, and she pulled Wenhao up. Run. Wei Wei, call for help. The friend channel lit up, and Wei Wei's voice was urgent. I heard it. Iron blood is in action, the forum exploded. You are deep in the maze, I monitor the map, turn right to the collapsed passage, bypass the second bridge, the exit is in the crack on the east side. But be careful, there are hunters in the guild. Ruoxi nodded, accelerated, dragged Wen Hao into the remaining illusion, and the sound of shattering mirrors sounded behind. Li Wei roared, chase! Capture her alive! The arrow shot out with a swish, and one arrow grazed Wen Hao's shoulder, causing burning pain. He groaned, sister, go first, I will stop you. No, together. Ruoxi turned back stubbornly, swept away the sword energy, and forced the three forwards back, ding ding. Kill 2 skirmishers, PK plus 10. The smell of blood mixed into the mist, and she felt the footsteps of the pursuers approaching like drums, and her heartbeat synchronized with it. Wen Hao blocked the fireball with his shield, and a heat wave hit his face. He lost 30% of his life. Hold on, the bridge is in sight. They jumped onto the broken bridge, turned and swayed the bridge section, and the abyss wind roared below. Ruoxi predicted, zipper to stabilize the bridge. She grabbed the chain and said, stable. But Li Wei's axe whirled around and hit the side of the bridge. It broke with a click and the bridge tilted. Jump! Ruoxi shouted, and the two of them rolled to the ground and rolled into the crack on the east side. Stone chips pierced their skin, causing pain like needle pricks. The guild's pursuers were close at hand, and Li Wei smiled ferociously, you can't run away. Wei Wei's voice spoke again, there is a hidden passage behind the crack, go straight to the east exit. Use your fragments to activate acceleration and get rid of them. Ruoxi integrated the fragments into the shadow-devouring sword, and the skill flashed, Shadow Wind Awakens, movement plus 20%. She ran Wen Hao wildly, the wind whistling in her ears, and she felt her body sliding like a shadow. A rain of arrows fell from behind, and one hit her thigh. Ah! She screamed in pain, her life was -50, but she gritted her teeth and rushed forward, determined in her heart, strategic escape, this is the new me. At the end of the crack, lights suddenly appeared, and they rushed out of the edge of the maze. The guild was blocked by the broken bridge. Li Wei's angry curse echoed, damn it! Keep chasing. The team panted in the forest. Ruoxi checked the wound, and the coolness of the potion entered the body and restored the blood bar. Wei Wei's message, it's safe for now. The fragment is the first piece. Collect 3 pieces to synthesize the legendary skill book. The next one is deep in the forbidden area. The guild will block the road, so be careful. Ruoxi clenched her sword, looked at Wen Hao, and smiled, we are almost there. With the wisdom and teamwork, I will solve the next puzzle. Wen Hao nodded, with deeper admiration in his eyes. The forest wind blew, bringing with it the breath of freedom, as they stepped onto the deep path, with the edge of gathering skill books in sight. The mist in the forest was like a gauze, wrapping around Ruoxi's legs. The medicine on the wounds still had a cool feeling. She tore off a piece of cloth and wrapped it tightly around her thigh. The blood-stained ground added a trace of rust in the air. Wen Hao leaned on the tree trunk, his shield tilted against the ground, and his breathing was as heavy as a bellows. Sister, the pursuer was thrown away in time, otherwise Li Wei's mad dog would really bite him. With the fragments in hand, what next? I heard in the deep forbidden area that the density of monsters has doubled, and the guild is still blocking the road behind. Ruoxi stood up and waved the shadow sword gently, the sword light swept across the fallen leaves, making a soft, rustling sound. She touched the fragment on her chest, and the crystal touch seeped into her hand like melting ice cubes. First find a hiding place and fuse this fragment. Wei Wei said that collecting 3 pieces can synthesize the legendary skill book, but this first piece can activate some magical skills in advance. The foresight showed that there are residual copies at the deep entrance, with many elite monsters inside, just in time for testing. There was a hint of calmness in her voice, no longer the panic of fleeing, but the calmness of controlling the overall situation. Deep in my heart, a warm current surged, from the embarrassment of being hunted to the current layout, it felt, like a queen giving directions to the country. The friend channel suddenly lit up, and Weiwei's voice was filled with excitement and gasping, Ruoxi. Wen Hao. Are you safe? The iron-blooded guild has been humiliated on the forum. Li Wei sprayed in the channel like he had eaten shit, saying that he would be wanted across the server. Listen to me, don't force yourself, I will join the team. My intelligence network can monitor the guild's movements, and I have all the hidden maps. Do you accept the invitation? Ruoxi smiled, and the system prompt popped up. She clicked to confirm. Come on, Weiwei. The tank's output intelligence is missing 1 out of 3, and it's your brain that's missing. Weiwei's character appeared teleporting at the edge of the forest, a dexterous intelligence agent wearing a green cloak, with cunning eyes shining. She ran over and patted Ruoxi on the shoulder. Sister, a hero saves the beauty. That wave of maze escapes just now is so cool. The team is formed and we share the view. I stare at the rear. Li Wei has sent a hunter team to outflank from the north. It will arrive in 10 minutes. The team was formally formed, and the 3 of them moved forward side by side. The forest path wound downwards, and their footsteps made a soft, gurgling sound when they stepped on the wet moss. The air was filled with the mixed smell of earth and wildflowers, and a faint roar could be heard from the depths of the forbidden land in the distance, sending chills down one's spine. Ruoxi took the lead, and the foreseeable scene unfolded like water waves, a hidden cave ahead, suitable for fusion, without monster interference. She pushed away the vines, and it was dark inside the cave. The walls were embedded with luminous ores, and blue light fell like moonlight. Here, guard the door. She said to Wen Hao, while Weiwei set a hidden trap at the entrance of the cave, and a faint smell of smoke floated in the air. Ruoxi sat cross-legged and pressed the fragment into the sword spine of the shadow-devouring sword. The system rang, fusion begins. The shadow wind fragment merges and awakens some magical skills, predicting sword shadow, elementary. Effect, predict enemy moves for 3 seconds, multiple phantom attacks, number of phantoms is 3, each shadow causes 30% real damage. Cooling, 2 minutes. The sword trembled violently, and black light surged like a whirlpool, rushing into her body. It felt like electricity rushing from her arms to her mind, and her field of vision expanded instantly. The air flow around her was clear, and every wind was like a clue of prophecy. A flash of purple light flashed in her eyes. When she stood up, her steps were as light as walking on the wind, and her inner monologue surged. This power is not just prediction, it is control. In the past, I just wanted to prove myself. Now, I enjoy the pleasure of controlling everything. Like a queen, looking down at the chess game, every move is in the palm of my hand. Wow, sister, your aura has changed. Weiwei's eyes widened, and Ruoxi's attributes on the intelligence panel jumped wildly, agility plus 40, attack plus 25. Awakening of divine skills. Give it a try. Wen Hao raised his shield and grinned, come on, slash me with your sword and test it. The tank has thick skin and can bear it. Ruoxi smiled and activated the predictive sword shadow. Wen Hao's defensive actions flashed in her mind, and she shouted softly, watch the move. The figure flickered, and 3 phantom clones jumped out at the same time, each holding a sword as if it were real, and the sword rain poured down like a storm. The phantom predicted Wen Hao's shield rotation and stabbed sideways, ding ding ding. Sparks flew everywhere, and Wen Hao's shield surface showed 3 shallow marks. He took a half step back, and his life was reduced by 10%, damn. Real damage, and the prediction is so accurate. Once this skill is released, who can withstand it? Weiwei clapped her hands, great. The team's output is doubled. Let's go, the remaining enemies in the copy are just for practice. The 3 of them came out of the cave and went straight to the remaining area of the deep copy. Prediction shows, on the edge of the collapsed maze, there are more than a dozen remaining enemy elites, Shadow Soul Guards, level 33, with strong group attack, but the weakness is in the core of the soul. Outside the cave, a group of monsters loomed like black mist, their red eyes flashed, and their low roars echoed like ghost cries. There was a fishy wind in the air, and the claws scratching the ground made a click-click sound. Ruoxi took the lead and rushed in. When Hao takes the lead, Wei Wei controls the field, and we are the main output. The team activated in tacit agreement when Hao's shield hit the ground, and the shock wave forced the front row back. Wei Wei threw out the intelligence network, shrouded in green light, marking the monster's weakness. The core is in the chest, attack plus 20%. A wave of monsters came, and 5 shadow souls rushed towards Wen Hao. Their claws were as windy as knives. Ruoxi predicted that the sword shadows would be fired instantly. She predicted in her mind that they would be outflanked by an arc. Her figure was divided into 3, and the phantom sword rain poured from the flanks. Each shadow stabbed one core. Ding, ding, ding. After a series of critical strikes, the shadow soul fell to the ground wailing, exploding 3 soul crystals. The real injuries were superimposed, and the monster's health bar was emptied like an avalanche. She felt that the sword light absorbed energy, and the health bar automatically filled up. It's so smooth. The phantom moves its fingers like arms, and its foresight makes them unable to escape. Wen Hao laughed, blocking the attack from the back row with his shield. Girl, your magic skills are superfluous for tanks. Keep going, the rest will be destroyed. Wei Wei's intelligence arrows were like missiles, hitting the monster's eyes, slowing down and controlling the field. 3 on the left, weak points exposed. Ruoxi used her magical skill again. 3 phantoms circled, the shadow of the sword was like a net, the monster group collapsed, and the system continuously sounded, kill x8, experience plus 200 x8. The team swept through easily, and the backpack jingled full of soul crystals and low-level ores. When Wei Wei picked it up, she said excitedly, this efficiency cannot be matched by the guild team. The team is invincible, and the queen will lead it. Here comes the coolness. Deep in the dungeon, an elite boss, the soul-eating demon king, awakened from the fog. He was level 38. His body was like black smoke, his tentacles were like whips, his eyes were as big as blood moons, and the magic power fluctuations in the air made his skin numb. Flash of prediction, when facing a duel, Wen Hao Wei Wei controls the field, and its weak point is the whirlpool above its head. Ruoxi waved her hand, don't interfere, this is my solo attack. Watch the first show of my magical skills. Wen Hao escorted the flanks, and Wei Wei's intelligence added, be careful, tentacle range attack, 3 seconds of prediction is enough. The soul-eating demon king roared, his tentacles swept like a wild python, and the wind roared. Ruoxi predicted the trajectory in her mind and sneered, come. Predicting the sword's shadow to erupt, her figure was divided into 3, the entity flashed to the left, the phantom circled to the right, and the sword rain pierced the whirlpool. The tentacles flew into the air and smashed the stone wall. There was a boom, and dust flew up. She felt the air vibrate like a drum. The demon king roared, and the second wave of tentacles sprang out from the ground. Ruoxi predicted the underground veins and jumped up to avoid it. The 3 phantoms fell together, the sword light poured down like rain, each hit added real damage, and the vortex blood bar dropped wildly, -300. -250. The demon king wailed and summoned black mist clone, but the foresight allowed her to lock onto her true body and seal her throat with a sword. End. Kill the soul-devouring demon king, experience plus 1000, explode the high-level gem, shadow soul heart, legendary level, embedded weapon plus 50% shadow damage, permanent awakening of the second phantom. After getting the gem, the purple light was bright and pulsating like a heart. Ruoxi embedded the shadow-devouring sword, and the system dinged, upgraded magical skills. Predict the sword shadow, intermediate level, phantom number +1. She tried to swing the sword, the shadow of the sword scattered, the air tore like thunder, and the queen's temperament in her heart completely emerged, the pleasure of domination, from proving myself to now, I enjoy the taste of surrender of all things. With the sword in my hand, I have the world. Wei Wei screamed, it's amazing. This gem is the only one for everyone. Li Wei knows it and is so angry that he vomits blood. But the crisis is not over. System alarms sounded throughout the server. The crisis is expanding. The deep ground of the forbidden area is unstable, and the monster riot has escalated to SS level. It is expected that within an hour, monsters will surge out across the continent. Players form a team to survive, and the first place in the server will get the ultimate glory. The chat channel exploded, and players screamed again and again. Weiwei's intelligence network flashed red. It's broken. Li Wei personally led the team to intercept from the East Canyon. 30 people are elite, including all mages and archers. Do you have any predictions? Predictive flash, an ambush at the mouth of the canyon. Li Wei charges up his axe, intending to capture him alive. Ruoxi sneered, "It's better if you come here." "Let's go, head on." The team rushed out of the dungeon. The canyon was windy, and roars echoed on the stone walls. Li Wei's figure jumped up, holding his blue axe high, and the guild behind him was like a pack of wolves. "Ruoxi. You bitch, how amazing are your magical skills. I'm here in person to kill your whole family." His eyes were red, arrogant as before. The mage's fireball was already singing, and the archer was ready to rain arrows. Ruoxi's heart was filled with anger, and the queen's aura was at full strength. "Li Wei, kneel down and call me sister, maybe I'll spare you." She activated her magical skill and predicted the trajectory of Li Wei's axe. 4 phantom clones came out at once, and the sword rain was like a storm, piercing the front row of the guild. The archer shot an arrow, and she dodged in anticipation. An arrow grazed her shoulder, and she felt burning pain, but the phantom shot back with 3 bows. Ding, ding, ding. Kill x3, PK plus 30. Li Wei roared, slashing the axe at the real entity Ruoxi. The wind was as strong as a mountain. She dodged sideways, and stabbed the weak point of his armor with her sword. Crit. -400. Li Wei retreated, half of his health bar was reduced, and his face was ashen. Impossible. Are you cheating? Wen Hao shielded the mage's fireball, and the heat wave hit his face. He shouted, "Girl, concentrate on the output, I will escort." Weiwei's intelligence arrow controlled the field, slowing down the guild's back row. The mage's weakness is exposed, and the shadow damage is doubled. Ruoxi fired the sword shadow again. 4 phantoms circled, anticipating Li Wei's retreat, and the sword rain covered him and his younger brother, killing 5 people in a row. Blood and flesh spattered, and the air was filled with fishy wind. Li Wei blocked a blow with his axe, but was stabbed in the abdomen by the physical sword. Ah. -500. He knelt down and dropped the axe aside. The guild was in chaos, screaming and running away. The leader has lost. Get out. Feeling the pleasure of being slapped in the face, Ruoxi pointed her sword at Li Wei. Remember, this is the queen's mercy. Next time, the whole server will see the real deal. Li Wei got up, his face twisted like a ghost. You will regret it. Iron-blooded will not let you go. But he led the remaining team to escape, and a system-wide server prompt appeared. Player Ruoxi killed Li Wei, the leader of the Iron-blooded guild, and the PK points exploded. The forum was boiling, and the title, Queen of Prediction, was popular all over the server. The team gasped and escaped, and Weiwei was excited. Counterattack. The crisis has expanded, and the monster wave is coming. The prediction shows that the second fragment in the deep layer is at the core of the Earth's veins, but the guild and the entire server alliance are severely blocked. Ruoxi holds the sword, and the queen smiles brightly. What are you afraid of? The team is invincible, let's rush. The game of dominance starts from now on. The 3 of them went deep into the canyon side by side. The wind blew, the roar was approaching, and the server-wide storm was brewing. The wind in the depths of the canyon roared like a wild beast, mixed with the heat waves coming out of the cracks in the Earth's veins. Ruoxi's long hair was blown wildly. She held the shadow-devouring sword tightly, and the black light on the sword pulsated like a heartbeat. The roars of the monster wave were getting closer and closer, like countless wild dogs lowing in their throats. The 3 members of the team moved forward against the stone wall, stepping on the loose gravel. making a thin, click sound. The air was filled with the mixed smell of sulfur and blood, making people's nose feel hot. Weiwei's intelligence panel flashed red, and she gasped in a low voice, "Sister, the exit of the deep dungeon is right ahead. The density of monsters is high, but prediction can lead us to take advantage of the loopholes." Li Wei's alliance team has surrounded the East Gorge, estimated to be 50 people, including mages and archers. After rushing out, go straight to the core of the Earth's veins, where the second fragment is. Ruoxi nodded, and the picture flashed through her mind like lightning. Guarding the exit was a wave of mid-level monsters, a group of level 35 magma scorpions, with poisonous tail range attacks, but the terrain had high and low differences, and they could use cliffs to counterattack. She took a deep breath of hot air and felt as if her lungs were filled with fire. "Wen Hao, you move forward to clear the way. Weiwei, control the field and mark the weaknesses. Our main output, blessed by magical skills, this wave of monsters should be used as a warm-up." Her voice was steady, with a calmness like a queen. Wen Hao grinned and raised his shield high, the iron surface reflecting the red light of the canyon. "Understood, Queen. Tanks are on standby at any time." Weiwei's fingers flew, and the green intelligence network spread out, wrapping around the front like spider silk. "The weak point is locked, the scorpion tail joint is the most fragile. Charge!" The three of them rushed out of the remaining area of the dungeon like arrows. A swarm of magma scorpions emerged from the cracks in the ground. More than a dozen behemoths, their carapace red as hot as lava, their tail hooks dripping with orange poisonous juice, made a sizzling sound when they stepped on the ground, and a heat wave hit their faces. Ruoxi activated the sword Shadow of Prediction, and the intermediate power of her divine skill exploded. Her figure flickered, and 4 phantom clones appeared, each as agile as her real body, predicting the outflanking arc of the scorpion swarm. The sword rain poured down, piercing the tail joint, ding, 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 ding. With a series of critical strikes, the scorpion fell to the ground with a wailing sound, the poisonous juice splashed out, and the ground was so hot that it smoked. She felt the sword light absorbing the heat energy, and the blood bar automatically returned to full. Exciting. What is this magical skill, the monster wave? Wen Hao blocked a scorpion tail attack with his shield, and there was a loud bang. His steps were as steady as a rock. "Sister, the 3 on the left wing missed the net, deal with it." Weiwei's arrows were like missiles, hitting the scorpion's eye, slowing down and controlling the field. Marked, the core is exposed. The team's tacit understanding swept through, the scorpion group collapsed, the experience bar skyrocketed, and Ruoxi's level steadily reached 32. The light from the exit suddenly appeared, and they rushed out of the deep dungeon, facing the explosion of the whole server chat channel. Queen Ruoxi. Single-player soul-devouring demon king. Iron-blooded Li Wei was killed. Little transparent counterattack. Awakening of magical skills, the female swordsman dominates the server. Weiwei intelligence, Ruoxi's team crushed the guild, and the blue tank exploded. Ruoxi's heart was filled with heat, the past ridicule was in vain, she became the focus, not little transparent, but the queen. Weiwei said excitedly, "Sister, you are popular. The forum headlines are all about your battle report, and Li Wei's face is as green as a vegetable leaf." But the joy was short-lived. The system alarm sounded throughout the server. The Iron-Blooded Guild has launched an encirclement and suppression order. Target, Team Ruoxi, a set of bounty blue suits. Mobilize the entire alliance to block the core of the Earth vein. Li Wei's voice was leaked on the guild channel, and his voice was distorted like a ghost. "Then you bitch are stealing my resources. Brothers, capture her alive and expose her magical skills." At the mouth of the canyon, the guild alliance came like a tide, more than 50 people, torches lit up the night, archers sang, axe shielders arrayed, and the smell of gunpowder and sweat filled the air. Li Wei's deputy, Tiniu, a level 40 vice president of mad fighting, carried a giant hammer in front and yelled, "Ruoxi, let's capture you without mercy. Queen. I'll smash your sword." Ruoxi sneered and had a flash of foreknowledge. There was a flaw in the guild's formation, and the canyon terrain was full of cliffs and foggy forests, which could be divided and attacked. She grabbed her teammates and said, "Don't fight hard, use the terrain." Wen Hao, cut off the rear escort. Wei Wei, hack into their channel, spread the truth. Li Wei monopolizes resources, outsmarts individual players, and makes the whole server laugh. I will take the lead and defeat them one by one. Wei Wei's eyes lit up, and her fingers flew on the virtual panel. Keep it on me. Specialty of Intelligence Engineer, Hacker Mode is on start. She sneaked into the guild channel and a forged message popped up, Iron-Blooded Insider. Li Wei embezzled blue equipment and forced everyone to delete their accounts. Evidence attached. The channel was in chaos instantly, and the guild members whispered, the leader is really evil? Ruoxi is the victim. Public opinion spread like wildfire, and chats across the server flooded the screen with, Iron-Blooded and Black-Hearted Guild. Support the Queen of Precognition. The PK battle breaks out. The guild alliance surrounded him from both sides of the canyon, arrows rained down like locusts, and the whoosh wind pressure brushed past his ears. Ruoxi activated the accelerating wind and led the team into the foggy forest. The trees were covered with shadows and the fallen leaves made a rustling sound when stepped on. She predicted the archer's shooting trajectory and shouted, "Left cliff fault, lead them to chase." The team went around to the edge of the high cliff, and the guild's forward Tinyu rushed in with 10 people. The fog in the forest was thick, and the vision was blurred. They could only hear the dong-dong of footsteps like drums. Wen Hao blocked a wave of fireballs with his shield, and the heat wave hit his face. He lost 20% of his life, but he kept his figure steady. "Girl, I can withstand it. Kill them." A wave of doubts surged in Ruoxi's heart. In the hot discussion across the server, there were many sour voices. What kind of queen does a woman play? She must be cheating. It's just luck that the little transparent turned over. These words were like a knife piercing her heart, reminding her of the humiliation she felt when she was stepped on by Li Wei in the past. But she gritted her teeth and turned the pressure into motivation. Doubt? Then prove it with your sword. Women are not vases, they are the embodiment of wisdom and courage. I, Ruoxi, want to shut them up. She took a deep breath of the moist earthy smell in the mist, and said in a firm voice, Wei Wei, control the archer. Wen Hao, protect my flanks. Iron Bull's weak point, the hammer handle joint, this magical skill will kill him. The Iron Ox giant hammer came, and the wind pressure was like a landslide, smashing a tree trunk, and sawdust flying with a click. Ruoxi predicted the trajectory, and the 4 phantoms of the figure separated. The real body flashed to the right, and the 3 shadows circled the left. The shadow of the sword was like a torrential downpour, piercing the joint of the hammer handle. Ding, 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 ding. After a series of critical hits, Tinyu's arm went numb, and the hammer fell from his hand, hitting the mud with a boom sound. He glared, impossible. You. Before he could finish his words, Ruoxi's physical sword pierced his throat like lightning, and his shadow sucked life. The black light flourished, instant kill. -800. Tinyu fell to the ground and exploded the guild resources, a blue storage box, which contained high-level ores X50 and guild badges, redeemable for equipment. The guild's forwards were in chaos, screaming, the vice president is dead. Evacuate. Ruoxi picked up the box, feeling the heavy weight like the fruit of victory. The resources are in hand, the crushing feeling is so sweet. The team used the cliff terrain to counterattack. Wei Wei's intelligence arrow blinded the eyes of 2 archers, slowing down the back row, marked, the mages gathered together, blast them. Wen Hao defended loyally, with a shield like a wall. Blocking the axeman's charge, metal collided with clang, and he shouted, Girl, concentrate on the output. The tanks are here, it's safe here. Ruoxi fired magical skills, 4 phantoms shuttled through the foggy forest, predicting the command like a strategist. 5 people on the right, lead to the top of the cliff, fault collapse. The guild pursuers stepped on the loose soil, and with a boom, the cliff edge collapsed, and more than a dozen people fell into the abyss. The screams echoed, help! The rhythm of defeating them one by one is like chopping melons and vegetables. The team cleans out more than 20 people, the PK points are soaring, and the blue equipment fragments are all over the ground. Ruoxi's sword shines endlessly, and her heart is as tough as steel. Pressure. That's fuel. Makes me burn hotter. Wisdom is not hiding, but predicting. Courage is not being reckless, but leading the charge. This is a woman's path, and I walk it steadily. Wei Wei hacked into the channel and continued to tweet. The iron-blooded siege failed. Ruoxi's team killed the deputy and grabbed all the resources. Players, see clearly who is the hero. Public opinion in the entire server reversed, and the chat screen flooded the screen. Queen is awesome. Li Wei, get out. Support female players, cool text. When the climax came, Li Wei personally fought out from the main road of the canyon, bringing the remaining elites with him. The blue light of his axe flashed and his face was ashen. Ruoxi. Are you destroying my guild? Come on, let's fight head-on. His roar shook the forest, and the mage behind him roared with fireballs, and the heat wave was like a sea of fire. Ruoxi jumped up to the top of the cliff, the wind blew her clothes, she pointed her sword at Li Wei, her voice resounded throughout the server, the system public channel was opened. Li Wei, your encirclement and suppression? What a joke. The deputy was seconds away, the resources were snatched, next time the core of the earth will see the real chapter. Witness the whole server. Ruoxi, the queen of foreknowledge, will wait for you to kneel down and beg for mercy. After saying this, her magical skills flashed, and she led the team into the depths of the foggy forest. The guild's pursuers rushed into the air, and Li Wei roared back, you wait for me. SS Crisis, I will let you die without a body. The team escaped and panted in a hidden spot in the forest. Wei Wei was excited. Open challenge. The whole server exploded. Li Wei was humiliated at his grandma's house. When Hao wiped the blood on his shield, his eyes as loyal as iron. Queen, escort him at any time. Next time, I will smash his axe. Ruoxi smiled, her hand holding the sword was steady, and her heart grew like a tide, rising from doubts. This pressure will only make me stronger. The core of the earth vein is ahead, the second fragment is in sight, and the crisis storm is reaching its peak. The forest wind blew, carrying the salty smell of victory, and they continued to move forward, with firm steps and the eyes of everyone following closely behind. The fog in the forest has not yet cleared. Ruoxi's shadow-devouring sword trembled slightly, and the black light on the sword seemed to detect the restlessness in the distance. She wiped the virtual sweat from her forehead, feeling the smell of earth and blood remaining on her skin making her breathless. Wei Wei's intelligence panel suddenly beeped wildly, and her eyes widened. It's broken. The server-wide alarm has been upgraded. The SS crisis has expanded, and the riots in the earth have triggered an army of monsters to invade the main city. The chat channel exploded, filled with players' cries for help. The edge of the main city has fallen, individual players are being chased by monsters, and Li Wei's Iron Blood Guild actually set up cards on the edge to collect protection fees to monopolize resources. When Hao punched the tree trunk, and his shield made a muffled sound. His face looked particularly livid in the fog. Damn it, did you treat the crisis as an opportunity to steal money? Those monsters are a mixture of magma trolls and shadow soul beasts, starting at level 40 jump, ordinary players can't stand it. We can't sit back and watch, we have to attack the edge and save people. Ruoxi's heart tightened, and she saw a picture coming like a tide. In the wilderness outside the main city, the tide of monsters was like a black and red torrent, swallowing up countless scattered people. In the picture, Li Wei's guild members built a wall behind them, pretending to be defensive, but actually blocking the road to collect money. Innocent players were bitten by monsters and screamed in agony. She gritted her teeth, and blood surged in her heart. In the past, I only focused on counterattacking on my own, but now that the team is in hand, I have to take the lead in protecting them. This is not a personal hero, it is the responsibility of the queen. Let's go to the edge of the wilderness. Wei Wei, you monitor the path of the monsters and mark the weaknesses. Wenhao, hold the front line, and I will clear the area. The team will attack, saving people first. Ruoxi's voice resounded through the forest, like an order. Wenhao and Weiwei responded in unison, understood. The three of them rushed out of the foggy forest with their footsteps like the wind. The wind blew past their ears and made a whooshing sound. The firelight of the main city in the distance had already reflected half of the sky. System-wide alarms echoed throughout the server. Monsters have invaded the main city. 20% of experience will be deducted when a player dies, and all drops will explode. Form a team to survive, and the first in the server will be awarded the title of Guardian. The edge of the wilderness has become a Shura field. The magma troll is as huge as a hill. Its skin is cracked and spewing lava. The ground vibrates with every step, leaving scorched pits with every step. The shadow soul beast shuttled like black mist, its claws tore through the air and let out a hissing scream. The individual players fled in all directions. A female mage in her 20s was hit by the troll's tail and rolled several meters away. Her health bar bottomed out and she screamed, "Help! Someone come and help me!" Li Wei's guild members built a temporary defense line not far away, with blue shields flashing. They shouted, "Want to live? Pay 1,000 gold coins and enter our protective circle." A male archer said angrily, "You are iron-blooded and black-hearted. Are you trying to steal money in a crisis?" The guild members smiled evilly and shot him with bows and arrows, forcing him back. "Get out. Otherwise the monster will bite you to death first." Ruoxi's team rushed in from the flank. She predicted the charging route of the monster wave and shouted, "Wenhao, block the troll on the left. Weiwei, control the path of the shadow soul, I will trigger an internal fight." Wenhao raised his shield and rushed forward like an iron wall. He blocked the troll's punch with clang. The heat wave from the lava splashed and burned his skin red, and his health was reduced by 30%. "Hold it. Girl, fight quickly." Weiwei's fingers flew, the intelligence network spread out, and the green light marked the weakness of the shadow soul. The core is in the center of the fog, slowed down by 20%. The troll is afraid of cold, and the shadow soul is afraid of fire. Use the terrain. A prediction flashed in Ruoxi's mind: there are hidden ice spring cracks and craters in the wilderness, and combined with magical skills, it can induce monsters to eat each other. She activated the predictive sword shadow, and 4 phantom clones came out to predict the trampling trajectory of the troll. The entity flashed to the edge of the ice spring, and the tip of the sword penetrated the ground to activate the mechanism. With a click, the ice spring gushes out, and the cold air fills the air like mist, freezing the footsteps of the 3 trolls. Their roars are mixed with pain, and the lava skin, sizzling, cracks. The phantoms circled around the crater, the sword light detonated the heat flow, the fire pillar shot up and rushed towards the group of shadow soul beasts, the black mist exploded with a boom when it met the fire, and the shadow souls dispersed in mourning. Innovative tactics work. The troll was frozen, and turned to attack the fiery shadow souls around it. There was a loud bang-bang sound when the fist hit, and the shadow soul's claws counterattacked, tearing apart the troll's carapace. The monster's internal fighting was like a gunpowder keg exploding, with blood, flesh and lava splattering everywhere, and the smell of burning in the air. The individual players were stunned, and the female mage got up with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, thank you. Who are you?" Ruoxi wiped out a residual shadow soul with a sword, and the sword light flashed like a queen's crown. "Foreseeing team, just saving people. Evacuate the main city quickly, we will hold on." Players swarmed past, and the system prompted, "Save X5 players, reputation plus 100. The whole server chat flooded the screen, foreseeing the edge of the queen's attack. "The monsters fought among themselves and saved a bunch of us. Is Tieshua still collecting money? Shame on you." The reputation has skyrocketed, and Ruoxi felt a warm current surge in her heart. It's not just one person's happiness, it's the achievement of leading everyone out of danger. On the way, Weiwei suddenly stopped, and the intelligence panel glowed red, uncovered a hidden plot. Li Wei's conspiracy: he is not defending, but deliberately letting monsters into the edge, forcing people to pay to buy the way, and monopolizing the dropped blue ore. The internal chat of the guild was leaked, and he plans to monopolize the S-level resource points in the core of the Earth line when the crisis is at its peak. Ruoxi narrowed her eyes, and precognition confirmed. Li Wei was hiding in the rear camp, sending people to pretend to rescue, but in fact he attracted monsters to surround the players. Wen Hao roared, "Shameless! Let's kill him and smash his camp." Ruoxi nodded, her desire to lead burning. "No hurry, save people first. Wei Wei, hack into their system and collect evidence. Wen Hao, it's time for your shield to be upgraded. Combine the armor fragments and soul crystals you just picked up into a blue shield." Wen Hao was busy in front of the temporary furnace, hammering with clang. The fragments merged with the soul crystal, and the shield glowed with blue light, upgraded successfully. Defense plus 50, with rebound lava, the tank is invincible. He tried to block a flying rock, and with a pop, the rebound damage exploded into a small crater, and the combat power was strengthened like a tiger. Ruoxi smiled, "Okay, now rush to the camp. As a team, I will dismantle this conspiracy with my own hands." The iron-blooded camp is hidden behind the wilderness hills, with blue shield walls flashing and guild members heavily guarding it. Li Wei's deputy, the Teniu remnant, a level 30 mage leader, was collecting money and letting people go. "Hurry up. Pay all the gold coins and come in to take refuge." An old player trembled, "I have no money." The mage smiled evilly and waved his staff to summon the mobs to push him out, then feed the monsters. Ruoxi's team jumped down from the top of the hill. She predicted the trajectory of the mage's fireball and shouted, "Wen Hao, break the goal. Wei Wei, spread the evidence." Wen Hao's shield hit the wall, and the blue shield shattered with a boom, and the fragments were like rain. He rebounded and attacked to clear out the two guards. "Go in." The camp was in chaos. Li Wei rushed out from the tent, axe raised high, and was surrounded by more than a dozen elites. "Ruoxi, are you ruining my good deeds? Brothers, frame her, say she is a monster spy, open the guild channel, and want the whole server." He whispered to the mage leader, who nodded, and the forged system message popped up all over the world. "Server, urgent." It was predicted that Queen Ruoxi would collude with monsters and lead a tide of invasion. Iron-blooded evidence, she just released monsters to fight among themselves on the edge. The chat channel was filled with questions. Really? The queen turned black. The savior of the scattered people turned into a spy. Li Wei smiled grimly, "Now you are finished. Players, kill her, and the bounty will be doubled." The exciting reversal is here. Ruoxi sneered, knowing that the frame-up script had already flashed through her mind. The picture in her mind was clear. Li Wei's forged information had a backdoor, and Wei Wei could counterattack. She shouted, "Wei Wei, now!" Wei Wei's fingers were flying, and the intelligence expert's skill, hacker reversal, was activated, and the green light invaded the guild system. The evidence is reversed. Look clearly, Li Wei's chat history, let monsters besiege, collect money to monopolize ore. The whole server screen switched, and Li Wei's voice leaked echoed, "Yes, crisis is an opportunity, all the scattered people are dead, we are the iron-blooded one." The evidence exploded like a bomb, and the chat channel reversed, the iron-blooded ones are the spies. Li Wei cheats money and harms people. The queen is innocent, iron-blooded, get out of here. The guild members were dumbfounded, and someone turned around and said, "Boss, are you cheating on us?" Li Wei's face turned pale and his axe trembled. "Fake. This is her conspiracy." The slap in the face expanded. Ruoxi led the team to rush in, the divine skill of foreseeing the sword's shadow erupted, for phantoms predicted the sweep of Li Wei's axe, and stabbed his armor from the side. "Open duel? Your conspiracy, the whole server is laughing." The sword shines like a net, Li Wei's axe cannot block it, and the critical hits are continuous. Ding ding. -500. He knelt down, the reputation of the guild was ruined, and the members fled in all directions. Iron blood is over, mess with the queen. Wei Wei searched for evidence and uploaded it, and the system prompted, expose the guild's conspiracy, gain +500 reputation, and the team's reputation is the best in the server. The individual players gathered around and cried with gratitude, "Queen, thank you. We will form a team with you." Ruoxi swung her sword to eliminate the remaining enemies, and felt a sense of accomplishment in her heart. From a personal counterattack to leading a team to protect the entire server, this transformation. I am no longer a lone wolf, but the queen of the team. The feeling of leading everyone in the charge is so solid and refreshing. When Hao's shield blocked the last wave of mobs, and the blue light bounced off the lava, blowing up 3 of them, "Girl, we got the camp resources. The blue ore piled up in a mountain, enough for us to upgrade." While picking it up, Wei Wei found a hidden plot clue. There is a big boss in the core of the ley line, the climax of the SS crisis. The Monster King awakens. The second fragment is in its lair, but the remnants of Li Wei's alliance will block the road. Hidden mission: collect the fragments, awaken the ultimate magical skill, and resolve disasters across the server. Ruoxi nodded and held the sword tightly, feeling that the team's tacit understanding was like a blood connection. Okay, strengthen the equipment and attack the core. The crisis is not over yet, our glory is waiting there. The 3 of them left the camp side by side. The wind in the wilderness brought a bloody aftertaste. The flames of the main city reflected their backs. The eyes of the whole server were like torches. The low roar of the Monster King came faintly from the depths of the earth. The entrance to the core of the earth's veins opened like the mouth of a giant beast. The heat waves coming out of the cracks were mixed with the pungent smell of sulfur, making Ruoxi's eyes narrow slightly. She took the expanded team, when Hao, Wei Wei, plus a dozen individual players rescued from the wilderness, and stepped in firmly. The Sand People have various roles, including archers, mages, and even a few half-baked warriors. Their equipment is dusty, but their eyes are fiery. "Queen, thank you for joining our team. Those bastards of iron blood, we are determined to follow you." An archer named Xiaofeng gasped, and the bowstring made a squeaking sound. Ruoxi smiled, the shadow-devouring sword feeling slightly hot in the palm of her hand. "Don't call her queen, just call her Ruoxi. The crisis is serious, and only if we all work together will we be happy to survive." Her voice was steady, like a needle that stabilizes the sea. A precognitive picture flashed in my mind. The server-level boss, Leyline Demon, is about to awaken, level 55, and the mode is divided into 3 stages: violent summoning, weakened core, and ultimate explosion. The weakening stage is an opportunity for duel, but Li Wei's remnants will rush in first, causing a melee. She took a deep breath of hot air, feeling like her lungs were filled with lava. Accelerate, the core is 1,000 meters deep. Wei Wei, monitor the path. When Hao, protect the Sanren rear guard. The team shuttled through the cracked tunnel like an arrow. The stone road trembled underfoot, the walls cracked and spewed lava, and red light illuminated everyone's face. Among the individual players, a young mage Shaoli said excitedly, "Sister Ruoxi, I used to be angry when I saw you being bullied by Li Wei. Now you lead us to counterattack, and I feel like a chivalrous woman in martial arts." Ruoxi felt warm in her heart, recalling the path to her rise, leveling up from the edge of a rabbit. From being a little transparent, to the moment when the Golden Fingers prediction flashed, her inferiority burned like ashes. To break into the Forbidden Land alone, from the Blue Bracer to the Sword of Shadow Bite, step by step from dependence to independence, to rescue people, dismantle the conspiracy, and form the team. These are not luck, they are the way she gritted her teeth. Inner monologue: I have changed, from proving myself to protecting everyone. This feeling of leadership is heavy, but it makes me stand up straighter. Suddenly, the whole server system alarm roared like thunder, the peak of the SS crisis. The Earthline Demon King has awakened, and the server-level boss has arrived. All players in the server gathered on the core battlefield to kill and win the title of Guardian of the Continent and exclusive props. The earth trembled, and red and black light erupted at the end of the tunnel. The Demon King, the giant body, crawled out from the earth's veins, as huge as a mountain, with skin flowing like lava, tentacles like 1,000 iron whips, eyes like a sea of blood, and a low roar that made the eardrums buzz. Invaders, destroy. Monster waves came from all directions, magma trolls and shadow soul beasts mixed together, and the roar was like a tsunami. The team rushed into the battlefield. The core square was as hot as a furnace, the air was twisted, and the heat wave made the skin red. The Sand People exclaimed, "Oh my god, this boss is too powerful." But Ruoxi had already predicted the pattern, the first stage, the violent summons. The monster wave is coming, spread out the formation, Wen Hao leads the middle, Wei Wei and I flank the monsters. Wen Hao raised his shield, and the blue light boomed, the tanks are in place, come on. He rushed forward, blocking a troll's punch with his shield, and with a bang, the lava splashed away. His life bar dropped by 40%, but it was as stable as a mountain. Xiao Feng, your archer is here to hit you. Xiao Li, the mage blasts the shadow soul. The scattered people moved in response to the sound, arrows and fireballs flew together, and, ding ding, kill prompts sounded continuously. A melee breaks out, and Li Wei's iron-blooded remnants rush in from the other side. There were more than 20 of them, with flashing blue suits. Li Wei was riding a warhorse in front, holding his axe high, and the arrogant smile on his face twisted into a ferocious smile. Haha, Ruoxi. You little bitch, you think you can become a hero by saving a few people? The boss is mine. Brothers, take the credit and step on her. The guild members rushed like wolves, the mages' fireballs hit the back row of the team, and the archers blocked the road with arrows. Wei Wei shouted anxiously, they are fighting for position. Intelligence shows that Li Wei wants to arouse the hatred of the boss and swallow the drops for himself. An individual soldier was hit by an arrow and rolled to the ground screaming, Queen, Iron Blood is here to trap you again. Ruoxi's eyes turned cold, and she predicted the trajectory of Li Wei's axe sweep. Don't panic. The team obeys the order. Wen Hao blocks the guilds forward. Sand People, go around and clear out their minions. Wei Wei, coordinate allies. All Sand People in the server, support us. She activated the precognitive sword shadow. The intermediate level of the magic skill was as powerful as a storm, for phantom clones predicted the path of the fireball. The entity flashed to the left, 3 shadows circled to the right, and the sword rain poured down. He stabbed Li Wei's deputy. Provocation. Kill your legs first. The sword was like a net, and the critical strikes were continuous. Ding ding. Kill 3 iron-blooded archers. PK plus 30. Li Wei roared, the axe came, and the wind was like a mountain. Bitch, die. But Ruoxi sighed in anticipation, and stabbed his horse's leg with the sword. The horse fell to the ground with a neigh, and Li Wei rolled down with a disgraced face. You, cheated. After accumulating effortlessly, Li Wei climbed up and pounced again, repeatedly provoking him like a dog jumping over the wall. I am the leader of the guild, it is your turn to take command. Ruoxi sneered, and used his magic skill again, for phantoms predicted his continuous axe, and the entity weakness of sword seal throat. Boss? Now it's a joke. Crit. Minus 450. Li Wei's health bar bottomed out and he retreated in panic. The guild was caught in the chaos by the tide of monsters. A mage was crushed by a troll, and his screams echoed. Li Wei roared, withdraw. But I know the boss's weakness, I'll kill you later. His provocation added fuel to the fire, and Ruoxi felt a turning point in her heart. Looking back on her rise, from the rabbit he laughed at to leading the team to crush her, along the way, she has gained the leadership position through blood and sweat. I am no longer the timid girl, I am a mature queen, protecting my teammates, advancing and retreating together. She turned around and shouted to the team, brothers and sisters, imagine that I was trampled into mud by iron-blooded people in the past, and now we are the other way around. We work together in a crisis, and everyone has a share in the fall of the boss. Charge and protect the mainland. As soon as he finished speaking, the morale of the team exploded, and Xiaofeng fired a series of bows and arrows. Fuck the queen, it's great. Xiao Li's fireball roared, get out of here, iron-blooded. Wei Wei's intelligence network expanded, coordinating all the independent allies in the server. All players in the server obey the order. Ruoxi's team mainly attacks BOSS, the iron-blooded ones are trying to steal the power, don't help. Support the firepower, blast the guild's back row. The chat screen of the whole server flashed, "Queen, take flight." The scattered people gathered. Hundreds of scattered people came from the edge, raining arrows and fireballs, and the iron-blooded guild was attacked, screaming again and again. Li Wei's remnant party collapsed, and he himself was knocked down by a shadow soul. Ruoxi did not pursue him and focused on the boss. Mode change. The weakening stage is coming. The first stage of the Demon King is over, and the wave of monsters summoned by the tentacles has receded. Its huge body trembles, and its core, a pulsating red crystal on the chest, is exposed, and the weakening mode is turned on. The system prompts, "The boss is weakened, a dual opportunity." The core is exposed for 5 minutes, and the damage is doubled. The Monster King roared, the red crystal flashed like a heart, and a heat wave swept through the square. Full picture of Ruoxi's precognition mode, the tentacles will sweep in 3 waves, stabbing the core in between. She shouted, "The team controls the field, I'll fight." Wen Hao, protect my surroundings. Wei Wei, allies' firepower suppresses the tentacles. The scattered people built a shield wall. Wen Hao's shield was as bright as a mountain. "Queen, feel free to charge." Wei Wei commanded, "Allies, blast the roots of the tentacles." Ruoxi took a deep breath of hot air and felt her whole body burning like fire. It was time for her magical skills to evolve. She integrated the soul crystal fragments she just picked up into the sword body, and the system dinged, "Evolution of the divine skill." Predict sword shadow, advanced, number of phantoms +2, prediction time extended to 5 seconds, and core damage plus 100%. The sword glow skyrocketed, 6 phantom clones spread out like an army, each predicted the trajectory of the boss's tentacles, and the entity went straight to the core. The first wave of the devil's tentacles swept over, like 1,000 whips dancing in unison, and the wind pressure whooshed and tore through the air. Ruoxi predicted the entire path in her mind, and the 6 shadows separately induced her. The entity flashed through the gap, and the tip of the sword pierced the red crystal, broken. Ding! Critical hit. The second wave of tentacles sprang out from the ground, the tips piercing like spears, and the hot juice dripped down, sizzling, the rotten ground. Ruoxi's prediction was extended for 5 seconds, and her magical phantom intercepted like a net. 5 shadows blocked the tip of the spear. Clang, sparks flew everywhere. Her physical body rolled closer and stabbed again, combo. -1,500. The red light in the core dimmed, the boss weakened intensified, the Monster King's body tilted, and his roar was mixed with weakness. The scattered people cheered, the Queen's magical skill. The core is about to be broken. Wei Wei coordinated with her allies and fired fireballs and arrows at the tentacle roots. Suppression was successful, 3 tentacles were broken. But climactic crisis. At the end of the weakening of the Demon King, he launched his ultimate move, Ley Line Explosion. The pulse of the red crystal accelerated, and the ground cracked and lava columns spewed out, heading straight towards Ruoxi. Flash of prediction, a fatal blow, unavoidable. Her heart sank, and when she was about to carry it, Wen Hao rushed at him like an iron tower, his shield firmly blocking the lava column. "Girl, back off. I'll fight." There was a loud bang, the shield melted, Wen Hao's life dropped by 80%, he fell to the ground, virtual blood stained the ground red, he gasped, "Tank. Duty. Hurry, end it." Ruoxi's eyes were moist, and her heart turned like a lightning strike. Wen Hao's loyalty is like a mirror reflecting my growth. From walking alone to now, everyone is blocking the knife for me, and I have to win for them. She shouted, "Wen Hao, hold on. Team, use full firepower, I will finish it." Wei Wei's eyes were blurry with tears, but she quickly coordinated, "Allies, focus the fire core. Give the potion to Wen Hao." The Sanren mages chanted to freeze a large area and suppress the lava, archers escorted them with arrows. Ruoxi activated the evolutionary magic skill, and the 6 phantoms pierced the core together, anticipating the explosive veins, and the physical sword penetrated into the crack like lightning. "Break it." Ultimate critical hit. -3000. Core destruction. The Demon King wailed, the giant body collapsed, and the whole system resounded. Kill the server-level boss Leyline Demon. Ruoxi's team won the first kill and dropped a server-exclusive prop. Heart of Leyline, legendary level, artifact core, can be fused with any equipment, permanently plus 100 all attributes, awakens the ultimate magical skill. When the props landed, the golden light shone brightly, like a pulsating heart. Ruoxi picked it up and felt the power pouring in like a river. The sword body merged and the final form of the magical skill flashed, predictive dominance, controlling the battlefield with full prediction. The team cheered and the scattered people knelt down, long live the queen. When Hao was pulled up by the potion and grinned, it's worth it, we won. Wei Wei hugged Ruoxi, sister, you are our leader. Li Wei crawled out from the edge, covered in dust, and his face was ashen after many provocations. It's impossible, it's my credit. He tried to rush to grab the props, but Ruoxi's sword flashed and he counterattacked. Get out. Your era is over. Li Wei was forced to retreat, and the guild collapsed completely. The whole server was flooded with the message, the Queen of Prediction kills the boss for the first time. Iron-blooded victory. Refreshingly, Ruoxi encouraged her teammates, the crisis is not over yet, the ultimate outbreak is coming. Team, take advantage and reach the top. They moved forward side by side, the aftermath of the earth's veins trembled, and the summit of glory was close at hand. In the square at the core of the ley line, heat waves were still rolling in the air. The Demon King's remains were like a collapsed volcano. The lava flowed slowly, making a low, sizzling sound, and the surrounding stone bricks were burnt and smoking. Ruoxi held the shadow-devouring sword that was fused with the heart of earth vein. The pulsating red and black light of the sword reflected on her face, making her eyes shine with unprecedented calmness. The team members gathered around, and the scattered people shouted, "Long live the Queen!" When Hao leaned on the shield and gasped for air. The edge of the blue shield was still dripping with lava residue. Wei Wei checked her backpack excitedly, and the system prompt dinged, first kill reward issued. Team experience plus 5000, reputation plus 1000, server ranking first, prediction team. Sister, after this magical skill evolves, I feel like you can rule the entire continent. When Hao grinned and wiped the ashes from his face, his voice carrying the unique ruggedness and reliability of a tank. Wei Wei nodded like a fool, yes, the whole server chat exploded. The post, predicted the Queen will kill the Demon King for the first time, iron-blooded becomes a laughing stock, flooded the screen, that guy Li Wei is probably hiding somewhere gnashing his teeth. Sanren Xiaofeng raised his bow and cheered, Sister Ruoxi, thank you for taking us flying. From saving us from the edge to fighting the boss now, this game has never been so exciting. Ruoxi smiled, feeling warm in her heart. In the past, she always gritted her teeth and faced ridicule alone, but now the eyes of the team were full of trust, and the taste of this leader was as comfortable as drinking hot soup. But the divine skill of foresight suddenly flashed an alarm. At the edge of the square, in a hidden crack, Li Wei's remnants were gathering, more than 20 iron-blooded elites, mixed with a few remaining shadow soul beasts controlled by them. Their intention is clear, a general attack, snatching the dropped items, and a last-ditch effort to jump over the wall. She took a deep breath of the sulfur-smelling air and clenched the hilt of her sword. Don't be too happy too early. Li Wei doesn't give up, the remnants are here. Wei Wei, block their reinforcement channel. When Hao, protect the back row of Sanren, everyone listens to the order, disperse the formation, and prepare to fight. As soon as he finished speaking, the cracks on the edge of the square exploded with a bang, and Li Wei led the iron-blooded remnants to rush out like a pack of wolves. He was covered in blood, with monster flesh still hanging on the blue axe, and his eyes were as red as a mad dog. Ruoxi, you destroy my guild and steal my glory. Brothers, attack them all. Kill them all, the heart of the earth is ours. Guild elite roaring and charging forward, the mage chanted that fireballs rained down, boom, the heat wave hit his face, the archer's arrows, swish, blocked the retreat, the shadow soul beast's black mist filled the air, and its claws scratched the ground with an eerie, crack, sound. The Sand people retreated in panic, and Xiao Li's mage robe was scratched by the fireball, leaving scorch marks. Queen, there are many of them, and the monster is still there. A melee broke out instantly, with swords, axes, and shadows intertwined in the square, and roars and system kill sounds mixed together. Ruoxi's divine command skill of predicting and controlling was fully activated. It was like turning on a full map radar in her mind, predicting the trajectory of each attack 5 seconds in advance, Li Wei's axe sweep, the guild mage's fireball path, and the Shadow Soul's stealth attack, all under control. Her figure flickered, and 6 phantom clones spread out like an army, and the entity went straight to the front line. Squad, hold on. Focus on clearing out the small soldiers. Wen Hao is the leader of the mage group. Wen Hao raised his shield, the blue light flourished, and rushed into the rain of fireballs. He blocked several shots with clang tsang tsang and lava. The rebound blew up 2 archers. He walked like a rock and shouted, "The tank is here, who dares to touch my queen?" Xiaofeng, last hit. Xiaofeng fired a series of bows and arrows, the arrows buzzed with the wind, and shot through a mage's shield. Ding! Kill! Experience plus 150. Weiwei's fingers flew, and the intelligence expert's skill, blocking net, spread out, green light wrapped around the guild channel like a spider's thread. It's black. Their reinforcement messages are all cut off, the scattered allies outside are coming, Li Wei's reinforcements are in vain. The guild members were dumbfounded, and an archer shouted urgently, "Boss, the channel is stuck. The brothers outside can't respond." Li Wei cursed, "Damn it, this bitch intelligence expert. Hard, recruiting." He commanded his deputy in a low voice, and a hidden assassin sprang out from the fog, piercing Ruoxi's back with a dagger. Predicting the trajectory, she dodged sideways, and the phantom counterattacked. A sword shadow pierced the assassin's throat like a ghost, the first sinister move, break. Ding! Kill, PK plus 20. The assassin fell to the ground, and the invisibility cloak exploded. Ruoxi picked it up and put it on her body, feeling lighter. The battlefield was like a boiling pot, and Li Wei's dirty tricks were endless. He sent 2 mages disguised as Sanren to sneak into the back row of the team, trying to cause civil strife and set fireballs to blow up his teammates. Weiwei's intelligence network scanned, and the green light marked, fake. Shaoli, blast them. Shaoli blasted out a fireball, and with a boom, 2 mages appeared. They screamed and were bitten by the Shadow Soul beast. Li Wei's control skills bit him back. Ruoxi knew that the commander had caught this, and sneered, "Second trick, mole. What a joke." Her 6 phantoms separated, and the physical sword energy swept across, killing the fake, and the blood splashed with a fishy smell. Wen Hao's shield blocked a wave of Shadow Soul attacks, and black mist wrapped around the shield like smoke. He lost 30% of his life, but he laughed, "Sister, these little monsters are here to warm up for me. People, hold on, the queen is about to show off her power." The remnants of the guild gradually collapsed, and individual allies rushed from the edge. Rains of arrows and fireballs poured out like a tidal wave. The iron-blooded members screamed and fled, "Boss, we can't stand it." Li Wei's face was ashen, and after many provocations, he finally jumped into panic. Wall broke out of the siege alone, and charged up the blue axe to slash at Ruoxi. "Little bitch, let's fight. I don't believe you really have that magical skill." The wind of his axe was like a mountain avalanche, causing a heat wave to tear through the air with a whoosh, and the surrounding stone bricks shattered and splashed. The peak of coolness is here. Ruoxi's heart sank, her precognitive control was fully activated, and the picture in her mind was clear. Li Wei's axe struck 3 times in a row, and the weak point was the gap in the armor on his right shoulder. She took a deep breath of bloody hot wind, and the red and black light on the sword's body surged. "Li Wei, from the day when Rabbit was leveling up, you stepped on me to get the upper hand. Now, it's my turn." Her figure exploded, 6 phantoms unfolded like a sword net, predicting the trajectory of the axe. The entity flashed to the left, and 5 shadows circled to the right to induce. Li Wei swept the air with his first axe and smashed into the ground with a bang of lava spewing out. He roared with the second axe sweep, "Go to hell." But Ruoxi predicted that the 5 seconds would be extended, and the magic phantom tightened like a living net. 3 shadow swords stabbed the gap in his right shoulder from the side. Ding, ding, ding was a continuous critical hit. The blue armor shattered and the health bar dropped by 4.0%. Ah! How did you predict my moves? Li Wei retreated and swung his third axe randomly, but was surrounded by the remaining phantoms. The rain of swords poured down like a storm, with core damage superimposed on each strike. The physical sword pierced his heart, because, I rule this battlefield. Give up, your era is over. Crit hit x6. Minus 1200. Li Wei lost his axe, knelt down and vomited blood. With a disgraced face, he stared like a dead fish. Impossible. How could I, the iron-blooded leader, lose to Little Transparent? Seeing this, the remnants of the guild fled in all directions. The system prompts across the server, player Ruoxi defeated the iron-blooded leader. Li Wei, the guild is disbanded. Reputation plus 2000, public enemies in all servers will become allies. The scattered people cheered like thunder. Xiaofeng shot an arrow to drive back the last deserter. Queen, crushed. The Weiwei intelligence network swept through and blocked all escape routes. Clear them all. Li Wei, get out of the server. Li Wei got up, his face twisted into a ball, and the shadows of repeated taunts shattered like bubbles. He growled, "You won, but remember, this game." Ruoxi pointed her sword at his throat, her voice as calm as a queen. "Game? This is my continent. Delete your account and leave, don't be an eyesore anymore." Li Wei gritted his teeth, the system light effect flashed, and his figure faded, deleted his account and quit the game. The whole server chat screen was refreshed. Li Wei has deleted his account. Queen of Foreknowledge, the Eternal Guardian. The moment she defeated her old enemy, Ruoxi felt relieved. The shadows of the past, the humiliation of being a rabbit, the sourness of the guild's ridicule, the loneliness of being alone in a forbidden place, recede like the tide, leaving only the clear calmness. She looked back at the team. Wen Hao's shield was full of scars, and Weiwei's cloak was scorched. The people's eyes were full of admiration. Thank you everyone. This is not my victory alone, it is ours. The growth transition is like the warm sun shining down. From a girl who proved herself to a leader of the whole server, she now understands, strength is not the edge of the sword, but the heart that leads everyone forward. The aftermath of the crisis gradually subsided, the earth tremors stopped, the monster tide subsided, and the system alarm turned into a celebration. SS crisis resolved. The server is stable, and all players in the server receive experience rewards. The precognition team won the title of Guardian of the Continent and exclusively occupied the Earth Heritage, Rare Equipment X10, Skill Book X5. The team picked it up and dropped it, the blue and purple equipment jingled to the ground, and Reputation filled the backpack like snowflakes. Wen Hao patted her on the shoulder. "Queen, the whole server is listening to you now. Next, establish a guild." Weiwei giggled. "Yes, the Precognition Alliance specializes in protecting the Sand People." The Sand People unanimously said, "Join." Ruoxi nodded, the sword light illuminated everyone's faces, the heat wave in the square gradually cooled down, and the wind blew the fresh smell of freedom. They stepped out of the core, their steps were brisk, the flames of the main city were in front of them, and their glory shone like stars. The eyes of all the servers converged on her crown. The residual heat from the core of the Earth's veins was still hovering in the air, and the red light of the lava illuminated every figure in the square. Ruoxi slowly stepped out of the cracks with her team and Sanran allies, and stepped on the charred stone bricks, making a tiny click sound. The wind blew from outside the tunnel, mixed with the lingering sounds of cheers and alarms from the direction of the main city, making people feel that the haze of the crisis had finally dissipated. Weiwei's intelligence panel was still flashing green light, and she waved excitedly, "Sister, the whole server system has confirmed it." We killed the Earth Line Demon for the first time, and got all the drops. After the fusion of the Earth Line Heart, your shadow-devouring sword is now a legendary artifact, with all attributes off the charts. The server ranks first, and the Precognition team, no, it's time to call it the Precognition Alliance. When Hao was carrying the upgraded blue shield, and the lava rebound runes on the shield were still slightly hot. He grinned, with unconcealable pride in his rough voice, "Yes, Queen. Ruoxi, this battle was a blast. From rescuing people from the edge, to smashing the iron-blooded camp, to single-handedly challenging the Demon King's core Xian, who would be dissatisfied with your leadership." The scattered people gathered around. Xiaofeng's bow was still trembling on his shoulder, and Xiaoli's staff was held tightly. Their eyes were filled with admiration. "Sister Ruoxi, without you, we would have been trampled by monsters long ago." The iron-blooded gang, now the entire server calls them black-hearted. Ruoxi touched the hilt of the sword. After the heart of the earth merged into it, the sword pulsated like a living thing. Power flowed from her arm to her whole body like a warm current, making her feel like she was stepping on the clouds with every step she took. There was a quiet pride in my heart, from being a little transparent on the edge of the rabbit to now being the focus of the entire server. Along the way, what I gained with my blood and sweat was not the equipment, but the trust. She smiled, her voice gentle but firm. "Don't call me sister, we are all partners. The crisis has been resolved, but the last wave of aftermath is not over yet. The prediction shows that the remnant soul of the Demon King will trigger the ultimate explosion, a server-level phantom boss. The heart of the earth is the key. We have to end it with our own hands and seize the #1 throne in the entire server." As soon as he finished speaking, system alarms across the server resounded like thunder across the continent. The end of the SS crisis. The remnant soul of the Earthline Demon King awakens, and his phantom form descends on the core square. The killer is awarded the title of Eternal Guardian, and has an exclusive throne in the entire server. All players in the server assemble. Glory belongs to the brave. The earth trembled again, and the Demon King's remnant body in the center of the square suddenly collapsed. Cracked, and a black and red phantom rose up, the final form of the Earthline Demon King, intertwined with reality and reality like a ghost. Its tentacles turned into countless shadow blades, its eyes were as big as the blood moon, and the low roar shook the air. The remaining souls are immortal, the continent is overturned. The heat wave came like a tsunami, mixed with the rotten smell of sulfur and undead, making the sand people retreat instinctively. The team was instantly on alert. Ruoxi's precognitive command skills were fully activated, and the boss mode unfolded in her mind like a holographic map. 3 stages: Shadow Blade Sweep, Phantom Clone, and Core Self-Destruction. The weakness was in the chest where the virtual and the real met. She shouted, "Formation! When Hao is in the middle, separate the wings and clear the clones. Wei, the intelligence marks the trajectory of the Shadow Blade. I will go straight to the core." When Hao raised his shield, and the blue light was like a wall, "Tanks are in position, come on." He rushed forward, his shield blocked the first wave of Shadow Blade rain. Clang clang clang, sparks scattered, rebounding damage. Several phantoms were blown up, and the health bar dropped by 20%, but it was as stable as a mountain. Ruoxi, concentrate on output. Weiwei's green light intelligence network spread out. The weakness of the Shadow Blade is locked, the clone on the left is fake. Blast the right. The scattered people responded, arrows and fireballs flew together, Xiaofeng's bowstring buzzed, Xiao Li's freezing technique froze a wave of shadow blades, ding. The battle was like a violent storm, the Demon King's phantom roared, and the shadow blades danced like 1,000 swords, sweeping across the square and making a hissing, tearing sound. Ruoxi's figure erupted, and the 6 evolved phantom clones predicted the trajectory for 5 seconds. The entity flashed through the gap, and the sword light pierced the chest. The virtual and real merged. First stage, break. Crit X6, -2500. The phantom trembled, the shadow blade slowed down, she felt the sword absorbing the energy of the remaining soul, and the health bar was automatically full. The scattered people cooperated tacitly, and Xiao Li's fireball hit the core of the clone. Queen, the second phase is coming. The Demon King's clone appeared, and more than a dozen black shadows rushed towards it. Wei Wei marked, the real body is in it, the fake one is afraid of light. The team's firepower poured out, and Wen Hao's shield hit 3 flying, clear. Ruoxi's magical skill came out again, and the phantom was like a net cover, killing 5 clones in a row, experience plus 300x5. The climax broke out, and the Demon King entered self-destruction mode. The pulse of the red crystal in his chest accelerated, and the shadow blades gathered into a huge wave, destroy. The heat wave swept across like a sea of fire. Ruoxi had foreseen the whole picture, and the ultimate weakness, the gap in the crystal heart, flashed in her mind. She shouted, "The team retreats, I will end it." Wen Hao escorted forward, using his shield to block the aftermath of the huge wave. With a boom, he knelt down and his life bottomed out. "Ruoxi, charge." Wei Wei's tearful eyes said, "Sister, be careful." The scattered people gathered fire to suppress the shadow blade. Xiao Feng rained arrows like rain. "Queen, for us." Ruoxi's heart heated up, the sword light surged, the 6 phantoms pierced the crystal heart, anticipating the pulse, and the physical sword penetrated deeply. Conquer everything, shatter. Ultimate critical hit. -4,000. Destruction of the remaining soul. The phantom of the Demon King wailed and disintegrated, and the square returned to silence, leaving only the residual heat of the lava and the gasps of everyone. System announcements across the server resounded like the sound of nature. The remnant soul of the server-level boss, the Earthline Demon King, was killed. The Foreknowledge Alliance won the first place in the entire server. Ruoxi was awarded the title of Eternal Guardian, the strongest female swordsman. All players in the server received crisis rewards, plus 10,000 experience, equipment upgrade coupon. Sure enough, Li Wei's public voice popped up in the system and was broadcast live across the server. Li Wei, the former leader of Iron Blood, admits everything. In the past, I ridiculed Ruoxi, monopolized resources, and tricked people in crises. I was wrong. Ruoxi, you are a real hero, I apologize. Iron Blood is disbanded, and I will retreat to reflect on myself. His voice was trembling, and his face was as pale as paper. Slap in the face. Queen, please forgive me. Ruoxi sneered and turned off the voice, but the game is a game, you win. The cool points came in like a tide, and the team picked them up and dropped. Legendary Skill Book X3, Purple Suit X5, Artifact Fragment X10. Ruoxi waved her hand and distributed, everyone has a share. Xiao Feng, upgrade your bow. Xiao Li, give you the staff. Wen Hao, use the shield core. Wei Wei, strengthen the intelligence cloak. Sand People brothers and sisters, these are ours, we should share them equally, and we will protect the entire server from now on with the Precognition Alliance. The Sand People were moved to tears. Xiao Feng knelt down and said, the Queen's kindness, we will follow you to the death. Players from all over the server poured in to worship her, chatting like snowflakes, worship the Queen. Female power, team harmony, a model of cool writing. Ruoxi felt her heart boiling with passion. From being trampled on and transparent, to a queen who won people's hearts, this counterattack was as complete as a dream. The afterglow of the setting sun shone into the main city, and Ruoxi's team returned to the square. Players gathered around and shouted, "Long live the Queen." Wen Hao suddenly pulled her, his rough palms warm and strong. Ruoxi, you have been different since the first time we formed a team. Tanks protect DPS, but now, what I protect is the heart. In reality, my name is Hao, and outside of the game, I also want to chase you. His face turned red, and his eyes were as sincere as shields. Ruoxi was stunned and smiled, fool, the trust in the game can also last in reality. Give it a try. Wei Wei giggled at the side and hugged her, friendship lasts forever. Girl, from the day we shared the information, you are my sister. The journey to Goldfinger is worth it. As night fell, Ruoxi climbed up the tower alone and looked down at the brightly lit, Illusion continent. Review everything, unexpectedly predicting the update crisis, breaking into the forbidden area alone to grab the blue wrist guard, defeating the guardian boss to obtain the Shadow Bite sword, sneaking into the hidden dungeon to awaken the magical skills, crushing Li Wei along the way, and resolving the disaster of the entire server. From a little transparent person with low self-esteem to the strongest female swordsman, this growth is as sharp as the edge of a sword, but as warm as the embrace of a team. She is full of pride and peace in her heart. Women are not weak, but the embodiment of wisdom and courage. The team is not dependent, but a harmonious force. When the game was over, she took off her helmet, and the real light poured into the room. She looked out the window at the starry sky with a smile. The fantasy is over, and a new adventure begins. The wind of the continent will always blow her legend.